Between the two of them.
The inside of Coates.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Hello? Hello, is there anybody there? I can't see anybody because I'm in my office. Hello everybody, welcome along to the return of Tuesday night's Virtual Reality Racing Club. And we are, of course, changing championships. We've got Steve Allen back on the broadcast, so welcome back, Steve. Lovely to see you again. And a brilliant welcome back to Co-Coms with Jack Oliphant. Jack, how are you doing? I hope you're well.
I'm very good, Rich. Yes, I'm always the better for commentating with you, of course. It's nice smoke blown up somewhere there.
No, me too, mate.
Yes.
I do enjoy working with you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, I did some broadcasting for VRRC a couple of weeks ago to cover for Steve, and I enjoyed my little spurts on the microphone when I had to be brought in to cover some technical difficulties. So when Richard asked me, do you want to come in? I thought, you know what, that'll be really good fun. So I'm here for the 1 week, potentially 1 week only, but I'm really enjoying the look of this BMW, and I think this series with this new format, which we'll get onto in a second, will be absolutely sensational.
It's great. It must be over a year ago that you helped me get back into the stuff that I hadn't worked on before with VRRC, because you and Andy McEwen were looking after things, and it'd be nice if we could get Andy back at some point for a round as well, because you guys were like really mega with me, getting me going on it again.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I think that'd be something special. If you can get a reply out of Andy, you're doing better than me.
Oh, bless you. Well, I'll come back. We'll talk about Andy later on. But here's the schedule for. Hopefully, we've got some viewers along that want to know where we're going and what we're doing. It's the BMW M4 GT4 Sprint, and as you've probably seen, we're at Spa. But it's 8 rounds. Watkins Glen next week. Then we're at Bahrain, Sebring, Imola, Road Atlanta, Silverstone, and finishing off at Road America. One of the rounds I can't do at the moment. I've been booked for a launch for a driver for next year. We'll talk more about that when that happens. That's not a sports drive, it's a real world drive, and looking forward to that. And here's the lineup.
It's an exciting lineup, isn't it, Richard? Really, we've got some drivers that have featured on VRRC for years and years and years, even so long that I remember them. And we've got other drivers that have sort of come in the interim in the past year that I'm sure you'll be familiar with as well. People to look out for, obviously the DK powered duo of Oliver Gibson and Jack Smith. That is fairly obvious. But the cars look mega, and I like the fact that, unlike real motorsport, you could argue, Richard, you're not restricted with having to have sponsors look brilliant on the side of cars and everything needs to be white so it's cheaper to paint every time you crash it. These cars look spectacular.
They really do, and the liveries, as I've mentioned pretty much every time I go on, done by Kenny Press for us, so thank you, Kenny, and I have managed to catch up. Sorry, Kenny, I didn't catch up with you at the weekend. I was in the room next door to Kenny Press at the weekend at Donington. I still didn't get a chance to go in, so apologies for that, Kenny. And it was mad. For some reason, the club meetings are more busy for me than the touring car meetings when we're on broadcast, but that's the way it runs. But yeah, really good people coming over from the Mini Championship, and some new names. I don't know anything about them because we do have the commentators chat bit, so if people want to put some stuff in the appropriate folder in the Discord chat then and tell us a little bit more about yourselves, or stick me a friend notice and message me some information. That would be great as well. So anyway, here's Spa. You probably all know the track. You probably know it better than I do, to be perfectly honest. I've only commentated on Spa for real 3 or 4 times in a fairly long and boring career, but it's a great track, as we're going to find out. And we do have a hot lap for you, which we can all sit back and enjoy and learn from one of our virtual reality racing club maestros. Okay, we're having a little bit of a technical one there, but just imagine that you're going down into La Source. You won't have to imagine soon, because we'll be able to do it. Quality finished, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. As I've said, take 2, and we are on our hot lap. So go ahead. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed our hot lap around Spa, and that was with Jack Smith, who of course is... Did Jack win the touring car head-to-head? Someone will tell me. I think he probably did. I haven't got my updated stats. Even if I'm not working on a VRRC championship, I do normally have a look, but we've been a little bit mad the last couple of weeks, so I haven't had a chance to go through all the various statistics. But what I can tell you is Jack Smith got pole position. A good time to talk about the new format, because a lot of you that are joining the broadcast will say, hang on, aren't you going to cover qualifying? But things are different, aren't they, Jack, for this one?
They are indeed, yes. For as long as I can remember, it has basically been qualifying for 20 minutes-ish, race for 20 minutes-ish, race for 20 minutes-ish. Well, we have mixed up the formats over the years. We did endurance racing, we did oval racing. We've done all sorts, but we are trialing a brand new version to give more races and to be broadcasting more actual on-track racing action. So qualifying has not been ditched for this round 1. We have been qualifying. We've just been talking over it whilst it's been happening. Race 1 tonight will be dictated by qualifying. Race 2 will be a reverse grid from race 1 results. I just had to double check that I was correct with that one. And then race 3 is combined results from race 1 and 2, fully reversed. Me and Richard aren't going to be able to keep up with that at all. They'll appear on the server when they appear on the server. So it's a little bit of a mix-up. There's 3 races, 25 minutes each of racing, and there's a lot of reverse grids. Now, going forward into... I'll do this very quickly because we've got 40 seconds. Going forward into the season from this round, from next round onwards, there is no qualifying, and race 1 will be reverse of the championship order. Obviously, we can't do that for round number 1 because there's no championship order for the time being. But that is how it's going to roughly go. It's a little bit complicated. You will get used to it, and it should be a fantastic format to follow along with. Ultimately, it's going to mean loads of overtaking and loads of on-track action, Richard, which is exactly what we want.
Yeah, I think Mr. Hayden's pinched what I was proposing for the Legends Championship upcoming, to be perfectly honest. That's pretty much what it is, but with slightly longer races. There are probably some subtle differences, but it's a great idea, and all being well. The only bad side of it is reverse grids, which, as we know, ensues with VRRC chaos.
Not today, Richard.
Not today, though. Not today. So Jack Smith on pole, the Flying Teapot, Thomas Potter alongside. Jamie Page is next up from Lewis Stannard, then Oliver Gibson and Chris Blakey are your main 3 roads. 10 seconds to go as the lights pop up on screen, and they will go out any moment now, and we will be racing for our first go at the BMW Super Start there by Jack Smith. Thomas Potter very slow away. Sorry, Thomas. So Thomas not too great. I think that must be Jamie Page because I don't recognise the livery. Is Jamie coming up into P2? It is. Lewis Stannard in 3rd, our mini champion. And I've been, must admit, metaphorically, always have to say that, rubbing my hands together to see how Lewis does in this one with the likes of Jack Smith, back with Thomas Potter, and going from front-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive. But pretty decent, clean start there, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of them, to be honest. Going through La Source and then up Eau Rouge, or Radion if you really want to be particular about it, is always a little bit tricky, especially with cars that are prone to a bit of understeer. I suppose that's safer than prone to oversteer, but it looks like a change for the lead is going to take place with Jack Smith being attacked by Jamie Page going into the chicane at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Not sure how that one figured itself out. Scott Bugner's a little bit further back than we were expecting. Not sure where he qualified, but we normally do expect him to be a lot further forward. Thomas Potter has not had a good start whatsoever, Richard. I know he's a bit of a fan favourite here at VRRC. It's not been a good start for him. Jack Smith retained the lead from Jamie Page, and that is crucial. And he's got Oliver Gibson, who's going to be probably playing rear gunner if he can catch up to those front 3 that seem to be pulling away just a touch.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting start from everybody. There is Chris Blakey in his traditional now livery. You were asking the question about Scott Bugner, qualified in 9th. Sorry for your recent loss, Scott. And great to see you on track. I really thought we might see him in the minis bin. It was front-wheel drive, but we didn't. And also, sorry that I'm not going to be commentating on Scott at the BRSCC meeting at Silverstone, which is upcoming. But the tight sods won't pay the bill for the live stream, which is a bit of a pity. But there we go. They know I'm only joking when I say that. Well, half joking. But Jack Smith the leader, Jamie Page in 2nd, Lewis Stannard in 3rd from Thomas Potter. So we've got the Stannard-Potter battle is going to be back on. I say battle, they did have a few close goes. Oh, contact there from Stannard on the inside of Jamie Page. I think it's the first time that these two have raced together. And Jamie Page will hold on. Jack Smith out front, looking to try and build and get away. But as Jack described, if you win these races, then you get more points. You're going to be starting off the back. So Jack Smith, we can expect to have a very hard run, or whoever is going to be leading this championship is going to have a very hard run to any title that can be won because of the amount of racing off the back that they've got to do. And that is kind of the ethos of Legends cars racing that you'll see as well over the winter. But as I say, for the moment, we are GT racing, and it's Jack Smith setting the pace from Jamie Page. Lewis Stannard in 3rd. And Lewis is backed off a little bit, I think maybe as a result of what he the contact that maybe he experienced coming under pressure from the flying teapot. Oliver Gibson back in 5th, trying to close in on the guys as we go on board with Thomas Potter, who's got a very good run here. Tries to go side by side with Lewis Stannard. He is nearly side by side. Is he going to get his nose in front? Trying to look at mirrors and see what's going on. Well, we can see from the timing tower that he has got his nose in front, but it's all about lines now, and Thomas has got the right line for the exit of the chicane, or has he? No, it's still Lewis Stannard in 3rd position, and Thomas will have to have another go in the KTM backed car.
Yeah, these cars are proving a bit of a handful, and I'll be honest, I was speaking to Rich earlier. He's not entirely sure these tyres can hold on for an entire 25 minutes. He has confidence, but he hasn't actually tested it. So it's going to be interesting how much life they're churning out of the tyres in these early battles to see if they can retain the pace going further into the race. Thomas Potter versus Lewis Stannard. Potter has now got past Stannard back into 4th place after he tried the classic Kevin Estra pass on the grass. I know it was at the Nürburgring and we're at Spa, but you get my point earlier on against Jamie Page. He's going to have to learn a few things here racing in these rear-wheel drive cars against seasoned VRRC professionals, shall we say. Jack Smith is not pulling away from Jamie Page, and now those two have sort of been given a bit of a buffer of the tune of about a second. You can see the likes of Jamie attacking Jack really rather soon, if he can keep up with him, that is, because it looks like he's actually just been dropped by another 0.3 of a second.
It does look like that, doesn't it? So Thomas Potter now up on the potential podium. So it's Smith, Page, Potter, Stannard, Gibson, Blakey, Dorman, Carroll, Bugner and Lee Pearcey. And when you think you've got really decent drivers like Lee Pearcey down in 10th place, that shows you how competitive this is. Rich Hayden is 11th from Ollie Smith, Paul Laramie, John Jones, Alex Walker, Catherine Potter, Caden Cook, welcome along Caden, Jack Dickerson, Scott Ferguson, Connor Potter, John Wilkie and Daniel Heaves in the mix as well. Great to have Daniel back, and nice to finally get to commentate on Connor Potter, who I've seen several times at various meetings up and down the country over the last few months. He was doing the touring car head-to-head, which I was hoping to get in for a round, but I didn't get a chance, so it gave everyone a break from me while we were doing minis.
I think they missed you, to be honest, Richard. I wouldn't worry about that. Oliver Gibson...
like a hole in the cranium.
Well, potentially, but I wasn't going to say it. Oliver Gibson has somewhat caught up to the back of this Stannard versus Potter fight, which has sort of just gone off the boil a little bit, hasn't it? There's a bit of a space between all the drivers, to be honest, in the sort of top 10. There's about a second between all of them, apart from Gibson to Stannard to Potter. That is the closest battle inside the top 10. Having said that, Lee Pearcey, I think, is going for an overtake on Scott Bugner, and then we saw this going into the final chicane. He didn't make it happen, did Pearcey, but he has just about managed to collect that rear end together and keep it ahead of Scott Bugner's. Brave driving by Lee Pearcey. He was using all the curbs. This car is apparently super soft. You can use the curbs quite a decent amount. But if you miss apexes like that, Pearcey's going to really struggle to maintain that position.
And apparently there's less fiddling to be done on the cars. There's less setup to be done. It's a slightly more vanilla car that's being given, which I think is going to maybe attract more people in, because you're not having to worry too much about every aspect of setups. A lot of the things are keyed in.
Yeah, I think that's one of the crucial things. I was going to mention it throughout the broadcast, and you're right to bring it up now, really, Richard, because ultimately the reason why we're doing all these reverse grids and everything like that is because the complication with adding ballast became too much. The car was hurting a bit too much, and I think a few people just got a bit bored of driving a heavy car, to be honest. So they've done this reverse grid instead of the balance of power and all that sort of thing. So we've gone for one make to take out the BOP. We've gone for a reverse grid to take out the ballast issue. And we've gone for a fixed setup to take out the experienced setup people. Because you do get the likes of Jack Smith, who I'm pretty sure has an engineering degree or is currently doing a motorsport engineering degree. He's obviously going to know how to set a car up better than the likes of your average Joe who jumps on a Tuesday night. So it is a crucial thing that I think VRRC have gone and done.
Yeah, it's really good. I think there is a little bit of ballast, but that's for the club, the perennial club success driver. I think the top 10 drivers in the club ranking, so they will have a little bit of ballast as well. So, but they get that all the time anyway. But yeah, all really, really well thought out by everybody at VRRC, which is basically Rich. So well done for that. We've got 17 minutes to go of our opening race, and there is a problem, and that is Mr. Hayden.
It is Rich, actually. Yeah, he's had a coming together, hasn't he, with somebody. I'm not entirely sure because we're not that attuned to the liveries yet, are we, unfortunately? But
No.
it may well be Daniel Heaps. I'm saying that because he's currently down in 22nd position. Paul Laramie's got into the top 10, so that means Lee Pearcey is now at the back of that little gaggle of cars. In fact, Lee Pearcey's well down the order, isn't he? So would it have been Lee Pearcey that had the issue? And that is why he is dropped all the way down, according to our timing tower. But according to my timing screen, which has frozen, so yeah, we'll take the timing tower rather than my timing screen.
Yeah, I've got Lee Pearcey 16th at the moment. Just refreshed.
Yeah, there we
the
go.
page.
Just refreshed you, right? Yeah.
But yeah, mine had frozen as well. We can see Paul Laramie getting stuck in here at the moment, and that's I think is that Ollie Smith in 11th, just disappeared off the timing tower. Yeah, it is just behind him, and Scott Buckner up ahead with Andy Carroll ahead of them. Oliver Gibson now is behind Chris Blakey, so your top 5: Smith, Page, Potter, Stannard and Blakey, with Andy Dorman in 6th position from Oliver Gibson. And so 15 minutes to go, getting towards the halfway stage. No pit stops in these ones either, and well, not supposed to be. No scheduled pit stops, we should probably say. It doesn't mean to say someone won't come in if they've got a problem or damage or otherwise. It's going to be interesting to see whether the tyres do actually last, though, because as you were saying, it's I'm guessing that a lot of the drivers, some of the drivers will have done a lot of testing. I haven't had a look during the week to see who's been on, but I'm guessing the perennials that we know do put the hours in probably have been doing that and working out what they can do, as Oliver Gibson closes up on Andy Dorman. And Oliver, I wonder if we're going to get a mention of the hop cavern. Did he mention the hop cavern when you used to be the regular? He's going for the move. We'll come back to the hop cavern in a minute. It's not quite far enough up the inside to have a go. Backs out of any contact as Oliver Gibson. Couldn't see whether he'd got hop cavern on it. Was that a topic of conversation that came up when you and Andy were doing it?
It was, yeah, and just like he did there, he rather hopped over curves than caverns. But it was. I do remember it being a local watering hole for himself, I believe, and one of the supporters. I could be remembering that wrong, because it was about a year ago, actually, Richard. You're right, isn't it?
Yeah,
Time flies, doesn't it, really?
It does, yeah. I think they tend to have the broadcast on, so hopefully the cheer has gone up as well as a few glasses being raised to Oliver and Jack. I really do need to get down there. We did propose having the VRRC annual presentation night there, but that still hasn't come through.
Is that how many times he's mentioned it now, that it's actually now plugged into the back of Rich Hayden's mind as somewhere to go? I quite like that. It's good determination for plugging your sponsors, isn't it? More drivers need to do that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, very, very good indeed. They definitely do need to do that. There's Andy Dorman in P7, so good start for Andy. Another Andy Carroll down behind him. Scott Buckner 9th, Paul Laramie still in 10th place. And so if we're going for a reverse grid, who are we looking at the moment? John Wilkie will be on pole position for race 2 with Scott Ferguson alongside. Daniel Heaps will be next up from Connor Potter. Nearly said Cat Potter. Then we've got so many Potters in here. It's getting quite scary, actually, to be honest. Caden Cook 18th and Jack Dickerson. So always good to keep an eye on those guys. And I do love the full reverses because it does give people a chance to build their experience. And, Kat Potter was really building her confidence on the last series that I was involved with in terms of, getting those laps in, starting at the front in the reverse grids and holding on to the quick guys for longer and longer every race.
I was going to ask your opinion on the full reverse grid, actually, Richard, because for me it's split. I think for a 25 minutes it's pretty essential, but it can cause an awful lot more chaos. If you just did a top 10 reverse grid for a 25-minute race, there's no point. It's basically doing a 15-minute race with a normal grid position, isn't it? Because everybody sorts themselves out by that point. But for the 25-minute races, as long as people keep it clean like we had at the start of this race, it could be really exciting, couldn't it?
It very, very much could be. It gives people time to come through. And I think, if you are coming through from the back, you're going to be more likely to go for the lunge and maybe more likely to cause the damage, and therefore more likely to get the penalty whenever the judicials are done. So I think you have to be a little bit more circumspect on that, and we will get penalties. I'm not sure if we've got a separate clerk for this, whether Rich is doing it, but in my experience, I have seen, Rich has been very, very fair. And on one of the races I looked at, one of the stats I looked at a week or so ago, I saw that he's even penalised himself from time to time.
I'm surprised he hasn't done it more often, to be honest. Have you seen the man drive? It's awful. I'm kidding, Rich. This is the reason I'm only here for 1 week. But no, I think the traditionals have always been actually one of the best selling points for VRRC. It's why so many real-life championships have got involved. And I remember back in COVID times, it was a case of that was a real big selling point for a lot of people. Everybody used to put on a E-Series, didn't they, for a year and a half period, 18-month period. And the fact that there was active judicials, there was active course marshalling, all that sort of thing, safety cars could have been put out. We've reined it back slightly because I do think it was a little bit over cumbersome for him. But that was one of the best things on the Gibson. What are you doing? He's conceding positions. I'll go back to my point. It was one of the best things that I think attracts a lot of people because the judicials do seem to be fair. Some people have a problem, but people are going to have a problem with everything, aren't they, Richard? It's good that we have it at least.
I've never met a racing driver who doesn't have an issue with a judicial that's gone against them, and that's why they're in it, and that's why. But as someone said to me about something I griped about on the internet, they said, "Suck it up," and that right back at you. For you can't argue with the officials. I've spent a lot of time in football, and the referees and other officials are the nicest people generally, and doing it because they love it. And yeah, mistakes are going to get made. You literally just got to go with it and crack on.
You do. It's really important. It's a bit of a life lesson as well. Sometimes it's just not that deep. Like let's just move on. Just go on to the next race and win the next one at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean,
exactly.
I realise people are going for championships, but
yeah.
Come on.
But importantly, most importantly, stay with it, stick with it, and stick with us.
Exactly, because it's going to come back around, isn't it? If you actually learn your lesson and you actually improve, you don't go for that lunge, you second guess yourself, and all that sort of thing, you do become a better driver, and therefore you probably are more likely to be able to consistently come in those top ends rather than lunging your way in because you're overstretching yourself slightly. And everybody who is at the front end of these grids, everybody on the grid, don't get me wrong, is lovely, but the people at the front end are very encouraging. Jack Smith, I used to commentate on Jack and Oliver when they first came into the championship, and it was fair to say Jack was a little bit further up, quite a lot further up than Oliver, but he was Oliver's biggest cheerleader. Whenever we used to interview him, he would go on about, and I know he's his brother, but he would go on about how much Oliver's improved and not about his own race. And that has come to fruition because now Oliver is a true front runner. Okay, he's not showing it quite in this race as it stands, but that's what we want to see. Thomas Potter stuck with the gig, stuck with VRRC, and now he is a front runner in probably any championship he would jump into, let alone the VRRC stuff. How he got into second place, by the way, I think I may have missed. Has Jamie Page made a mistake?
Possibly, yeah, I missed that as well. I was just thinking, I'm sure that Jack would have seen that, and I didn't. But anyway, he is in P2, Thomas Potter, and I think you're putting a bit of pressure on him, saying whatever he does is going to be good because he's going into Ginetta Juniors next year. And
I heard really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he signed up for. I believe certainly the plan is to go in, but he's going to be up against some competition. Here's a story for you, Ginetta Junior related, and I can throw this in because we are sports car racing, so there's a very loose connection, and Thomas is in it obviously as well. But I was chatting to someone on Sunday. He was telling me about some of next year's Ginetta grid. One of the kids coming into the championship next year, the family have bought 4 cars for one driver.
Really?
I mean, does anyone else?
Driver. They haven't bought the team then. They bought 4 for one driver.
Yeah, one driver has 4 cars. Now, that either tells me he's going to be a complete nightmare and he's expecting to write them off. We had a kid a couple of years ago who, I think now's in F2, who wrote off 3 cars in one weekend, one time at Thruxton. So either tells me he's going to be like that, or it's the kart thing where you buy 6 engines and dyno them all and then use the best one. But
either way, it's a little bit much, isn't it? Like, let's face it. I mean, spending all that money on Ginetta Juniors, that money could be put to good use on the further up the ladder. I love Ginetta Juniors. I think they're brilliant, but the cars aren't that different.
No, they're not. So whether they're going to keep cars in different locations and like having a helicopter at each base or something, I don't know. But I expect they've probably got a helicopter as well if they've got that much money. But Jamie Page is back on the case, isn't he? Closing up on the teapot here.
He is indeed, crawling all over the back of him. Whatever happened earlier on in the race that we obviously missed, unfortunately, could well be reversed by the end of this 7-minute spell that we're about to go in, which is the end of the race. And Chris Blakey, big shout out to Chris Blakey, has caught him to Lewis Stannard, and Lewis is going really strong. maybe a few mistakes, maybe the tyres have gone off. We're not entirely sure. That's one thing we're supposed to be picking up on. And I'll have a look at in more detail about the last laps compared to the best laps and everything like that, see who's dropped off. Because the big barometer, the one driver who hasn't been in any fighting is the driver at the front of the field, obviously, who's pulled away. Everybody else has been in these sort of dogfights, some more than others. So I'm interested to see whether they've taken more life out of the tyres than they needed to. I'll keep an eye on the laps as we go into the last sort of 5 minutes. Here is Oliver Gibson versus Andy Carroll, just behind the two Andys, actually. I'm wondering as well, where has Rich Hayden's recovered up to 14th, and I'm struggling to find Lee Piercy. Is that because I'm looking too far down? He's in 15th, actually. So Lee Piercy versus Rich Hayden has reignited. I don't know if that was a coming together that forced those two off at La Source, but they are 14th and 15th battling really close to each other. So we'll keep an eye on how that one develops, because that could be a good fight in the reverse grid in about 20 minutes' time.
Yeah, it could be. I'm wondering whether Rich is going for pole in the reverse grid race, is he?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why we actually got rid of the reverse grid, and now it comes back into fruition, actually. You sort of say it as a joke, but you're not wrong.
Oh, no, for sure. And again, you know, that happened in Legends cars. You get people that will play the system if they have a rubbish Heat 1 and then don't do, you know, aren't doing that well in Heat 2 as well, will throw it away for the final, for the, you know, for the points and get the chance of a win. I've seen many a driver do that. And here comes Ollie. He's going to have a go here at Andy Carroll. We're looking back from Andy Carroll, but Ollie just didn't quite have the momentum. There was trying the outside run. Now flicks back to the inside. I was working with a guy youngster called John Ratcliffe, who's a very exciting new commentator, and he would have said that was an up and under.
Yeah, I like John, actually. I work with him a lot in karting. He's a lovely bloke.
He is, yeah. But when he was going about up and under, I kept thinking, and you won't know this name, but there was a rugby league commentator called Eddie Waring, and that was his catchphrase.
Up and under. It's interesting, wasn't it? I mean, to be fair, you know exactly what he means.
Yeah. And I was trying to explain to John Ratcliffe who Eddie Waring was, but I mean, nobody in this environment here will know, because I'm such an old git. I'm the only one that remembers Eddie Waring.
Yeah, and you probably find there's not much of a crossover of rugby league. Or did you say rugby league?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, rugby league and motorsport fans. There's probably not that many crossovers, really. So you probably are a unique person in that respect, Richard.
Yeah. But commentary-wise, some of the old-school commentators knew Eddie Waring and what he did. He was quite well. He was do you remember the programme It's a Knockout?
You see, you're still showing your age.
Oh, Jesus. We'll leave that. We'll go back because we're with Thomas Potter. Jamie Page has dropped back a little bit, or Thomas Potter has pulled away. It's going to be one or the other, or maybe a bit of both. Jack Smith 4 seconds down the road from Thomas, Jamie. Lewis Stannard. I think Lewis is doing a good job in his first non-mini race here, because bear in mind, all his experience, Lewis Stannard, is in the junior saloons and for real, and then obviously coming into the mini championship, which he missed. To fill you in on the story, Jack, he missed the first event, I think due to an admin error, or just maybe was a bit late to enter, but came in from event 2 and then just proceeded to carry on racking up points and won it with a race to spare. And I think he's doing a good job in his first non-mini round with this on VRRC, and I'm absolutely delighted that he's made the switch over and joining us. I think I was expecting to see Callum Enstone in as well, but he's not on the list today. So I hope we're going to see Callum at some other rounds. I'm sure he entered.
He has entered because he was on the spotters guide that I
Yeah.
looking at earlier, because I didn't recognise the name, but obviously you know him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he doesn't seem to be here this evening, which is a bit of a shame. Speaking of which, though, it's a pretty full grid, isn't it? 22 cars that we've got out there. It's a fantastic turn up for the BMWs. I'm pretty sure there was a waiting list as well. And considering we've got a few drivers haven't turned up tonight, it's really stacked full of talent. And yeah, it makes it very exciting for the neutral.
Yeah, it's good. Really good to see, and I hope I'm sure it's going to carry on. And you know, that's the nature of championships. Numbers go up, numbers go down, and then they go up again, which is what they've done here. Andy Dorman we're looking at the moment, with Oliver Gibson still trying to get back past him, and then in the distance, just going out of shot, we've got Chris Blakey and Lewis Stannard. Chris has had a good run here in car number 5. Too early to start to think about driver of the round, but in true VRRC fashion, we are having a driver of the round at each event as well, and we'll get the sort of input from Steve, who is directing, as well as Jack, myself. I think we probably need to leave Rich out of it as he's competing, And if we
let's
do
use
that,
as the excuse for leaving.
yeah. And to be fair, he's not really seeing what's going on elsewhere, is he? So
No, that's true.
we hope not.
I joke, but yeah, realistically, he doesn't have a clue, does he, or what's going on, other than the 3 or 4 cars that are around him. I'm really impressed, actually, by Oliver Gibson, because it's not Andy Dorman he was fighting with earlier. He got past Andy Carroll, and now he's gapped him by about 0.6 of a second, and he's caught up to Andy Dorman. So
Okay.
he's actually fighting to try and crack into that top 6. But Chris Blakey, I've only mentioned him once this broadcast, but he's operating quietly in 5th place and really very hot on the heels of Lewis Stannard. And just to finish off a thought I had earlier, Richard, I've mentioned quite a lot about tyres, whether they will last. Well, Jack Smith is only about half a second off his fastest lap time. Thomas Potter set his fastest lap time in the previous lap. And Jamie Page also set his fastest lap time in the previous lap. So, realistically, tyres aren't an issue.
Everything's all right with the rubber, so that's pretty good. And yeah, so it's taken an equation out that we don't probably have to worry too much for the second race. Although with the reverse grid, some of the front runners might use a little bit more rubber on that one. 57 seconds to go. Where are they on the lap? And do we think this is the last one, or is it penultimate lap? What do you reckon?
Well, my timing page is sort of frozen again. We've got 40 seconds, but the important thing is where Jack Smith is, isn't it? He's going into the final chicane now, so yeah, we're probably going to have another lap under our belts here, which will make it a 10 lap race, I believe, maybe 11 actually, once they've crossed the line. So yeah, a pretty decent sort of standard. I mean, Spa is such a long lap, isn't it? It makes even the longest races feel pretty short when you look at the lap counter, but it takes a lot out of the tires. It takes a lot out of the drivers as well. I've driven Spa in real life. I say I've driven it. I've driven around it. The GT5s kept crashing around us, so we were just on the safety car for the entire time. But it is a bit of a draining track because you sort of have, unlike Brands Hatch Indy, where if you make a mistake on turn 1, okay, you only have to wait 40 seconds until you can have another crack at it. You've got to wait about 3 minutes around Spa. So each corner, really, you have to completely forget about the one before. I know that's obvious, but you don't get another chance to repeat yourself. So it's all about making gains on every single corner and maximizing them to the biggest extent and completely forgetting about the corners before. Otherwise, you will end up losing 3 or 4 places on a lap, and you don't have that many laps to go and do the overtakes afterwards. Oliver Gibson looks like he is going to go past Andy Dorman. That is a really nice move into the chicane. Managed to get it stopped as well, ridden over the curbs, and got his car completely ahead of the second of the Andys. So very, very impressive by Oliver Gibson, operating in 6th place.
Yeah, he's only 1 place down on where he started now, so he'll be kicking himself for having dropped back a little bit, but it's a good recovery, and that's the kind of thing that we have to bear in mind when we do start thinking about driver of the round. I think things would be a lot clearer towards the end of race 3, and great to have a 3-race format back with us on this one. But Jack Smith, Thomas Potter and Jamie Page are the provisional podium at the moment, with Lewis Stannard in 4th, and I'm sure we're going to get a different complexion in the other races. But here is our race leader, pole position and race lead at the moment, looking to try and convert it into a win. The gap goes out to 5 seconds now over Thomas Potter, who is another 2.9 clear of Jamie Page. But yeah, Jack Smith, I haven't commentated on a race with Jack in for quite a while. He's been doing a few of the hot laps for us in the minis, as well as Andy Carroll when we had the mini championship, which wrapped up 3 or 4 weeks ago now. Seems like a lot longer, to be perfectly honest. But a shame that Jack wasn't able to do that, but some of us can only do one thing a week. But it's the final stages of the opening race of our BMW Sprint Championship, and Jack Smith negotiates the chicane, and we'll head down to the virtual checker here and does a little bit of a tail wiggle as well as he sees the checkered flag and becomes our first winner of the new series, with Thomas Potter coming home actually not that far behind in 2nd position. 4.81 is the gap, and Jamie Page in 3rd. 4th position will go to Lewis Stannard, a good non-mini debut for Lewis, with Chris Blakey 5th from Oliver Gibson. Andy Dorman in 7th place. Then it was Andy Carroll from Scott Bugner in 9th. I think we're waiting for Scott just to cross the line now, which he will do. And Paul Laramie wrapping up our top 10. Next up is Alex Walker, looking to try and make some more progress. Yeah, Alex is finishing in 11th. Rich Hayden up to 12th from Ollie Smith. Just wait for Ollie to get his checkered logo on the timing screen, which he does. Cat Potter next, 14th for Cat Potter, out of a big field. I think it's a very good result for Cat. So a driver again that is improving time and again, and she finishes ahead of multi-race winner in VRRC Lee Pearcey. Caden Cook 16th from Jack Dickerson. Then it's John Jones in 18th, will be next up. As we look at Paul Laramie, John Jones will be the next finisher. I'll run through the others quickly and then we can head to break and set up our podium interviews. John Jones 18th at the moment, Connor Potter 19th from Scott Ferguson and John Wilkie, and I'm getting some issues with John Wilkie and Daniel Heaps. More of that anon as we head to a break.
I've had a lot of challenges in my life. We went through some tough times. We lost a lot of friends. And Helen was always there, supporting me through everything. She was razor sharp, brilliant with that stopwatch. Today, we're facing a new challenge. Helen has been diagnosed with a terrible disease. Dementia is nothing less than a worldwide epidemic.
Indeed, 1 in 3 people born today will develop some form of dementia during their lifetime unless we can do something to change that. And whilst there has been important research progress, it clearly is not fast enough.
When I was racing, a pit stop might have taken 2 minutes or more. These days, it can be under 2 seconds. Formula One moves fast. The pressure to perform is relentless. High technology, problem solving is what we do every single day. By contrast, medical research can be painfully slow. We bring Formula One technology into the laboratories. We've identified the best research talent in the world to work with the leading Formula One teams for a period of time to learn from their performance-driven culture and to adopt their sense of urgency.
I developed drugs from scratch, and I followed the Formula One mindset to treat dementia.
So we need to find new ways of doing things smarter if we're going to beat this really cruel disease.
So I'm hoping with my research to find something that has a tangible benefit, drive towards a real change, which can be translated into clinic, that can make a difference to patients, because that's what we really need.
This is not a race that one person is going to win. Science builds on little puzzle pieces that get put together. There has to be a team effort.
I'm working to beat dementia faster.
I'm working to beat dementia faster.
I'm working to beat dementia faster.
Let's beat dementia together.
So welcome back. We are fundraising work that we're doing for Race Against Dementia. We've already raised some money towards that, and we'll continue to do so. If you want to find out how you can get involved, get in touch with Rich Hayden. But just by watching and enjoying the sport, you're getting involved to some degree already. Jamie Page, we think he's unable to have a chat with us, which is a real pity. But so I'll go on to the second place chat. But there is Jamie's car with P2. Well done, Jamie. Hopefully we'll get to have a chat at some point. We need to get you sorted out so we can have a little bit of a natter, because obviously I think he's going to be a regular on the podium with that kind of performance that we've seen, and good standout livery. So Jamie, well done. And we'll go to the driver in P2, and this is a regular thing for me, isn't it, to talk to Thomas Potter. Thomas, very well done. P2, did that go to plan?
Well, At the start, no. I've never done a launch from these cars, and well, I'm pretty sure it kind of came out as I went down. I think it was 5th, and I fought my way back up to 2nd. But yeah, it was pretty good of it, and I reckon if I could have maybe kept 2nd, I could have maybe a little attack on Jack and maybe got more of him rhythm faster and not shredding my tyres. But it was still a pretty good race to finish in the podium and we'll get a 2nd as well.
That's good. I saw a spoof post today from your sister. She's not really going to Australia, in case anyone's concerned.
No, she's not. Although I wouldn't have minded it. I mean, I would say quite. I'm only I sit in my room, so I don't really pay attention to anyone else in my house. Me and my friends.
Was it Dad's birthday as well today, or was that yesterday? Or
yesterday, so that's what I was going to say. Happy birthday to him. I know he's sitting in the living room, so happy birthday to him. And well, it's not my granddad's birthday, but he has custard, so thank you, Grandad, as well.
That's very good indeed. And I know I should be asking about the race, but what did you personally buy your dad for his birthday?
So that's a problem. What I was going to buy him was, well, a podium, which I didn't have to buy. So that can be that, but I was going to get him something, then I realised the night before that I don't have any money, so there went that. But I will be getting him technically into Silverstone for free, thanks to World Crux for getting us a ticket to go there.
So you've got him a pass for Silverstone basically at the weekend?
Yeah, and a well, not hospitality, but paddock pass as well.
Very good, very good. Okay, well, no doubt we'll catch up with you a little bit later on. Looking at the time, we've got. We were told we had to be ready with a minute to go, and the clock's ticking.
You've got another 5 minutes, don't worry.
Oh, we've got another 5 after this.
There's another 5-minute timer, don't worry.
We're all right then, Thomas, so we can ask another one. How are the Ginetta sort of preparations coming along?
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I mean, I'm going out in it after my birthday, a week after my birthday, which is so, whatever 27 plus 7 is, because it's a new month, but I can't wait for that. And well, huge thanks to all the partners on my car which have made me be able to do that, especially Kate buying my car. And I think I'm going in the car. If not, I will be in probably one of the ones being racing today. Well, not today with this championship, because I don't know if mine's fully built yet, but huge thanks to all of them on the car for being able to get me to do that, and I appreciate it so much.
And any news on whether you're going to enter either that or the Fiesta Scholarship? Or, I mean, I guess the Fiesta one's not really relevant if you're doing Ginetta anyway, but will we see you at Blyton in the middle of October for the Ginetta one? You were sort of, I think there was, I was winding up about doing it, but I didn't know whether you were going to do it or not.
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but it will be amazing to do it, and well, get to meet you again. Seems to be like a weekly occurrence that we get to meet each other.
You'll be getting fed up with me, mate.
But I don't know if we will do it. I'd love to do it, but if not, I'm sure we'll be doing many test days as soon as we get a budget for it.
Yeah, it's worth entering because you never know, you might get your entry paid for and then you can do more testing, and you're going to need that against drivers that have got 4 cars. I don't know if you heard the comment earlier on, but a big ask, but great championship. And how was it at Croft? Because I think you went along to Croft and saw the juniors in action.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I do see what you mean. I'm going to need the test. I mean, going against a Red Bull Junior team and the Aston Martin Junior team, so pretty hefty grid. But yeah, Croft was amazing. I mean, seeing George get a podium, well, my home track, and well, he is from Australia. For if Catherine does go there, she can take him a visit. But yeah, it was just amazing to see them all at Croft, as well as the amazing MG Fest, as well as Mikey Dobble was there too.
Excellent. Well done, Thomas. I think we're going to flick over to Jack, unless Jack's got any questions for Thomas, but we can go to our race winner with Jack.
Yeah, no, by all means, well done, Thomas, but I'll let you go and get prepared for the evening side towards the back, and I will move on to Jack Smith. Just a quick shout out to Jamie Page. I have messaged him. He doesn't have a microphone. I've told him to sort it out. He said he probably won't be on the podium very often, and I said, well, I wasn't having any of that because you are clearly quick enough. So, Jamie Page, I've called you out already. Get the microphone.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Jack Smith. Big congratulations on the race win. I mean, fairly standard set of affairs for you, that wasn't it? There's a little bit of pressure at the beginning, but with about 15 minutes to go, scot-free.
Yeah, it was a great race, to be fair. Jamie had me sweating a bit at the start. It was a lot faster than I thought he was going to be at the start of that race. So, yeah. And I didn't really do a proper full fuel race run before this. I had no idea what the tyres were going to be like at Eau Rouge. And yeah, all over the place. But yeah, we got there in the end, got into a rhythm. And then, yeah, just got my head down and set off, really. So, yeah, it was a mega race.
Not to poke holes in your story, but you say that you hadn't done a full fuel run or you hadn't done much testing. Didn't you set this car up?
Yeah, this is a setup. Well, everyone's got my setup, so I mean, it's a fair game, this championship. But yeah, no, it's exactly how I would have set it up, and yeah, we obviously made it a little bit more understeery than I would have liked, just to cater for everyone. So yeah, it's a fairly neutral setup, but it's quite nice to drive. So yeah, it's a mega little car, and yeah, by extra fuel I mean about 20 litres, because the car drinks loads of fuel. It's crazy. I've never known a car on AC to drink about 4 litres a lap. It's pretty mental, but yeah.
Well, I love the idea that you set the car up and didn't even try it out in race spec. It's fairly late, and still managed to race and win it like that. Very quickly before we let you go, in terms of tyres, we were sort of wondering about them. Do they have any effect? Thomas Potter was able to put his fastest lap in on his last lap. What do you think about them?
Yeah, they definitely go off. The grip drops off a bit, but I think like you get towards the end of the race and the fuel drops down as well. I think because it drinks so much, I think the weight difference towards the end of the race makes a massive difference. So I think the time stays different, but the car is a very different car to drive, like throughout the stages of the race. So yeah, it's one to watch. Times obviously won't be dropping massively, but yeah, it'll be a very different car throughout the stages of the race. So yeah, one to keep an eye out for.
I like that. Thank you very much, Jack. We've been told we have to let you go a bit sort of, further away, but congratulations on the race win, and we'll see what you can do for the back of the grid.
No worries, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that, Richard. Shame, but we've only got 20 seconds until the next race, so it's probably about that time we start previewing what that's going to look like.
Yeah, reverse grid. So Daniel Heaps was the last of the drivers in the result sheet as I look at it online. So I'm not quite sure if there's some sort of qualification for, a percentage of race distance complete or being within a certain one or not to go. But if this is the case, we've got Daniel Heaps, John Wilkill, the front row, the grid from Scott Ferguson and Connor Potter. Indeed, that is the way that it looks as the lights go out. For the second time of asking this evening, it's a good start from Daniel. I'll tell you what, Daniel Heaps is going to be a difficult driver to beat from the front row of the grid. The youngster who races over in Ireland, another teenager, of course. And there's a big reverse grid shunt on turn one as cars go up in the air and down, and it's a big sort out. The question is, there's a spinner as well from third place, which is, I think, Caden Cook, who took a little bit of a gyration. And yeah, we all like reverse grid racing, don't we?
Yeah, that's difficult. I mean, don't get me wrong, the source is slow, but it is also one of the widest tracks you'll ever come across is Spa. There's plenty of room for everybody. Daniel Heaps found a lot of room, and he's maintained it. Let's focus on that, shall we? And Catherine Potter in second place. Seen her on the YouTube chat saying, thank you very much, Richard, for the shout-outs. # girl power. We need more girls. There's only her. So,
we do need more girls. I think Becky's coming back to commentate next week, which would be great. Looking forward to working with Becky again. But yeah, we need more on the grid, so we'll have to try and work out a way. I might even contact one of my colleagues about, and that's a spin for Lewis Stannard down to 8th, 9th. Is he going to drop to 10th? He's going to try and recover. It's all going off. The point I was going to make about Kat Potter is that Kat finished 14th, so she was actually nowhere near the back of the race result, and therefore nowhere really near the front of this. So it's done superbly to get up into second. So it's not even a case of Kat starting at the front and holding on. She's actually threaded her way through the various shenanigans that have gone on and has come through. So we've got Lee Piercy and Paul Laramie engaging as well in a little bit of a race with Jack Smith. Is up into 5th place already. How on earth do you do that?
Yeah, I was just about to mention you were praising Catherine Potter for avoiding contact and getting through the order. I'm pretty sure Jack Smith probably just slammed the brakes on, drove around the outside of all the clutter in front of him, found himself in 5th place. I mean, having said that, his car looks a little bit banged up as well, doesn't he? But he's got Oliver Gibson alongside him, so clearly they've both managed to find their way through. Thomas Potter has got through. Lewis Stannard went for a big lunge on a fair few people at the top end of the track. Right. Not entirely sure where he thought he was going to get his car stopped at, but he oversteered, he span going through the corner. learning curves, shall we say, in terms of driving this car. It is an understeering car. Maybe he thought a boot full of power would have been the correct source for trying to get the rear rotated. Clearly not. It got rotated a little bit too much anyway. But Daniel Heat was doing an absolute sterling job on that last lap alone. He's absolutely streaked away by the tune of about 2 seconds with Catherine Potter, Lee Pearcey, Paul Laramie, Jack Smith, Oliver Gibson, and Thomas Potter, the top 7. And I tell you what, from that interview, I wanted to ask Jack a little bit about it, Richard. We heard Thomas Potter say if he was in second place a little earlier, he likes the idea that he would have managed to catch up to Jack Smith. Is this the opportunity to see that come to fruition?
Well, Jack's already passed him in this one, so he's got a little bit of work to do.
Because Jack has to overtake 4 more people before he gets to the front.
Yeah, indeed. And Thomas will notice that now we're at the stage where, I've spoken to him enough, he knows that we can have a little bit of a josh and it's a bit of fun, which is good. There is Thomas, but yeah, he's chasing the... we've got to think of a nickname for the Smith and Gibson livery, haven't we? There's got to be a nickname for that colour scheme. I'm trying to work out what it is. It's a piece of modern art, isn't it? It reminds me of that. Is it Charles Rennie Mackintosh that has that sort of kind of colour schemes in their paintings?
You could well, but I think you're giving us a cultural journey here. I'm actually quite looking forward to it, Richard.
From It's a Knockout to Art. Actually, I was at an event last week called Cars and Art, believe it or not, up in Sheffield. Yeah. Which was great fun with Rowan Campbell Pilling, who had for the F4 driver had a painting unveiled that was that his team commissioned from one of Sheffield's young up and coming artists, and so I do. Yeah, I'm trying to paint that I know a bit about art. I don't really, but it sounds good, doesn't it?
I like the idea, Richard, that you could. I like the idea that you each week you give us an example of what you think DK Power cars look like. We can ping it up on screen, and we can all go through a bit of a cultural journey with you. Made by Richard. I think a lot of people would pay for that documentary. I like that idea.
I don't think anyone would pay for that documentary.
But no, it is a pretty cool car. I mean, it's a bit of a shame it's not like Donkey Kong or something like that, isn't it? Because DK Power sort of lends itself to being Donkey Kong being the sort of nickname, but it looks nothing like that franchise. So you got to think of something else, haven't you? But Thomas Potter, he's only got one thing in his mind about those DK Power machines, and that is getting past them.
Yeah, he's actually caught them now, hasn't he? I said that they passed him, and now that they're settling into the rhythm of the race, he is about to have a go and make his first move here. It was a little tentative look on the inside of Oliver Gibson, who runs wide, leaves him room, and Potter's got his nose down the inside here. But of course, there's a little bit more momentum sometimes on the outside, and Oliver Gibson hanging on to it for the moment. They're side by side. This is what we want to see, neck and neck. Thomas backs out of that. He knows that he's got time. He's got another 19 minutes to be able to make this move, if not get a little bit further up the order. So obviously Thomas wants to finish. Finish is going to be absolutely key. Now that was a great move there by Thomas.
Yeah, I love that. He was sort of waiting for that kink. I'm surprised that Oliver Gibson allowed him to have it. I thought Gibson would stay in the middle of the track after the kink, right? But he's not allowed him to go through the corner cleanly, and around goes Thomas Potter.
He does. Thomas has got the work to do again. Every day's a learning day, isn't it? So he loses out, but some great racing between the pair of them. And the key thing was that was clean. I don't think that was contact either. That was just a loss of adhesion for Thomas, trying to push a little bit too hard from where I was standing. I'm pretty sure there wasn't contact. But now we've got Jack Smith closing in on Paul Laramie. Paul in turn closing in on Lee Pearcey. And Catherine Potter, I'll say it again, has got up into P2 and holding it very well indeed. And 3 seconds down on Daniel Heaps. And I also need to give a shout out to Daniel, the young Irish lad. Really great to have him with VRRC. And I don't know if you've done a podium interview with Daniel yet, but he's a great lad. Another really quick youngster, and he's doing a super job out front.
I'm keen to hear a bit more about Daniel, to be honest, and Catherine and Lee Pearcey. I like the fact that we're talking about more names. Paul Laramie, who we know full well from VRRC. Everybody in the community knows you don't get past Paul without a fight. You have to earn your position off him. And he's proving that here by keeping Smith behind him, keeping Oliver behind him, who maybe once upon a time thought he was going to have to fight off Potter for a little bit longer. Laramie's making Smith go the long way around the outside, and Smith has decided to try it. This is a very brave move. Oh, Laramie's gone wide through the left. He's missed the apex, and I think that means Jack Smith is going to have the move done, and even Oliver Gibson follows his way through. Laramie, well, he was duped out of it, I think. A little bit of a psychological mistake.
Yeah, well, how does the song go? Sisters doing it for themselves, brothers doing it for themselves there as they go out of that chicane. And Paul Laramie, well and truly got mugged there, but it was some good defence and he really had no answer. And he's just got to try and come back if he possibly can. But yeah, good clean racing again. No contact between those guys. So it's Daniel Heaps from Cat Potter, Lee Piercy in third, Jack Smith now up into fourth place. And what odds of a double from the back of the grid? We've got 3 seconds back to second place, another 2 back to third, and then Jack Smith right with Lee Piercy pretty much. So we could potentially be on for a double here from Jack Smith if he deems that. I mean, he'll want to do it, but is he going to be able to do it? I'm not sure.
Well, this is deemed as a trial, this format, and when I was speaking to Rich earlier on, I did sort of say I personally think 25 minutes is a bit of a long time for a reverse grid race to be the correct sort of punishment, shall we say, or equalizer for championship standings. I think it should be reduced to 20 because it's fine if you have 22 to 24 drivers, but what if we dip under 20 drivers? That means he only has to overtake one a lap, and with the pace that he's showing, look at that, Lee Piercy makes one mistake and at least one of the DK powers are through without even a fight. I would quite like to see, I like seeing more racing, don't get me wrong, but if you're going to do reverse grids, I think they need to be slightly shorter, 20-minute races maybe.
I think you're probably right there. With Legends, what you tend to get is 2 very short first races, and they're reversed by draw, so they're not quite the same format that Rich is doing, but and then a longer full reverse with the championship positions reversed. Sorry, the points reversed. So, yeah, it's but they're not overly long, but you still have enough time to get through. I think it might be that. I think you make a good salient point there. So Lee Piercy down to 4, Jack Smith third, and trying to close in on Cat Potter. The gap now down to 1.7 to Cat, who I think is, you know, putting herself in the frame already for driver of the round. As to, of course, is Jack Smith getting from the back up to third, looking very good. Thomas Potter still there in 7th, so down behind Paul Laramie. Andy Dorman next up. Lewis Stannard's come back to 9th, so Lewis having a good run inside the top 10 again, as down the inside of Lee Piercy dives Oliver Gibson, but Lee returns the favour and gets back in, and Paul Laramie in the mix as well. Paul Laramie fancies a position or 2 might be had here. Here comes Cat Potter towards us. So Cat in and out of shot, followed by Jack Smith. Lee Piercy is next up. Oliver Gibson with his mirrors full of Paul Laramie. Wants a position back, has a little tease down the inside. Can't quite do it, but might be able to do a Thomas Potter and get some momentum down the hill. See whether he can do that. Daniel Heap still maintaining that lead of 4.2 seconds. Best lap of the race is with Thomas Potter, incidentally, a 2:26.920. So still more to come from the teapot.
Yeah, it is. I think it's quite crucial that we keep an eye on some of the bigger players here, but I'm really loving the fact that Lee Piercy and Paul Laramie are throwing the cat amongst the pigeons. Paul Laramie has managed to get through an Oliver Gibson. I was thinking you should have gone for the dive at the source. He thought better of it. He thought he'd go at the Camel Straight, get that draft, and maybe keep his car ahead. But Oliver Gibson has managed to just about keep the fight to him. Around the outside, going down the hill is a difficult braking zone at the best of times, even when you've got the optimal racing line. But he has he's still got an axle. No, he hasn't, though. Paul Laramie has gotten through, and Laramie and Piercy have broken up the 2 DK drivers for the time being, but not for long, Richard.
They have the 2 brothers. Well, this battle here, they're just going to lose Lee Piercy, aren't they, for the moment? So they won't work together. But as a result, you can see the gap is getting bigger and bigger to Piercy in 4th place. Jack Smith still in 4th ahead. And Jack has now caught Cat Potter. So we've got the battle on for 2nd place, as well as the scrap for 5th, which is going on here. Job to know where to look. And we'll see whether I'm expecting Jack Smith to, it popped up into 2nd position already. So Cat Potter still on the podium here, Cat. 1.5 seconds clear of Lee Piercy. And thus far, we've got 13 minutes to go. One of the best races I've seen from the C-pot as opposed to the T-pot. And I'll tell you what, the guys are going to have to beware of Cat Potter throughout the course of this championship now.
I'm excited to see what Catherine Potter can actually do in terms of a bit more regular front running. Oliver Gibson against Paul. Every time I want to talk about the front two or front three, Laramie versus Gibson sparks up again, Richard. At least you're covering them, because every time I cut back, it's something else going on. But Catherine Potter, I think, I didn't see the overtake, I'll be honest, but the correct decision probably would have been not to fight Jack Smith too much. You can get carried away on a reverse grid if you're not one of the regular front runners by fighting a little bit too hard, by getting a bit carried away. That's quite often why we see big pile-ups at the start of the race. Not saying that's what happened at this start of this particular race, because we didn't see it clear enough, but you're better off just driving your race, making sure that you work them hard to get them to overtake you, but then you follow, you learn, and then the next time it comes into that situation, you've got a little bit more ammo in your arsenal, and you can go again. The Lee Piercy battle that Catherine Potter's about to come up against, that's a more a challenge that she's more likely to put a bit of a fight on. And here we go, she's going defensive on that white line.
He is. That could well bring others into it, but Piercy has the move down the inside. Classic Lee Piercy, side by side with Cat Potter, but we've got the twists and turns of Spa to negotiate. And Lee's going to grab the inside, gets the position. Lovely, again, clean piece of racing between the pair of them. But that's the Lee Piercy we know and love. Makes a nice clean move and gets through onto a potential podium. Now, Cat Potter, we've seen the defence. We've seen her holding station at the front end of the race, and now she's got the opportunity to watch Lee Piercy, maybe follow, learn from Lee, and perhaps have a go back.
Yeah, and I think she should be able to learn a little bit in terms of that defence as well, because realistically, I know I just said, and I'm going to go against myself here, I know I just said don't make it ridiculously hard, learn your lines, learn how to be a bit quicker. But realistically, she did come out of that defensive position very early there, didn't she, Richard? You went all the way to the outside, and really, you should only really move over towards that outside once the driver behind has made the decision that they're going to move across as well. So it's a little bit difficult from her perspective, but she's not been dropped by by Lee Piercy. That's very important. If she can do a quicker time on this lap and the next lap, then it'll well been worth it. She's picked up some information, she's picked up some tips. She can go into race 3 with a strong position as well. Although the top 5 in this particular race is not out of the question yet. Oliver Gibson, Paul Laramie chasing her down. But if she can keep up in the draft with Lee Piercy, you never know. She might just hold off for another 6-7 minutes, and then it's a fight.
Yeah, do you know what? I should have done some updated stats of the other various championships that have happened since Mini's finished, because I'm not sure if Cat's on for a potential best result yet. So I will try and update them before next week. Got an Andy McEwen style spreadsheet of some of the VRRC events that I've worked on. I haven't got all of them going back ad infinitum, but got a decent one. But yeah, Cat really running well. And as you said, not being dropped by Lee Piercy at the moment. So Cat's still in with a shout of a podium here. So it's Heaps out front, Daniel Heaps. The gap has come down from 4.2 the last time I checked the gap to 3.1. So Jack Smith is gunning for his double, and he's still got that time to do it, hasn't he? You were absolutely right about reverse grid racing and plenty of time for Jack Smith. He was gifted a few places, or earned maybe a mixture of both, really. You can't say gifted in total, but you know, worked his way through in the early lap to 5th position at the end of lap 1, yeah, or well inside the top 10 anyway. And it is skill that gets you through the traffic, as well as the fortune of some of the cars going off, if you can call it that. Bad fortune for those that went off. Jamie Page is up into the top 10 now as well, which is good. As we focus on Paul Laramie, Paul dropped back a little bit from Oliver Gibson now in 5th. Oliver trying to close in on Cat and also Lee Piercy. But Daniel Heaps now the gap down to 2.53 seconds, so it's being chipped away at here, and Daniel will see Jack Smith coming. I'm pretty sure I've seen these two have an equal race before, maybe with Jack having a wee bit more ballast than Daniel at the time, but again I can't remember which series it was in. You can see Lee Piercy has now developed a little bit of a gap over Catherine, who might be looking in her mirrors at Oliver Gibson starting to close up. So you see the white, pink and light blue with the lovely black definition lines on the car closing up. Won't look lovely to Cat looking in a virtual mirror, unfortunately, as Oliver Gibson closes in. But this is still a terrific drive from Cat Potter with 8 minutes to go. Oliver Gibson working his way through as well. Paul Laramie in 6th, Thomas Potter in 7th, Andy Dorman 8th, Lewis Stannard in 9th, and Jamie Page in 10th, followed by John Jones and Scott Bugner. I do remember Scott not being as keen on rear-wheel drive, so perhaps surprised to see him in this series, but delighted that he is.
Yeah, he tends to turn up in every series. He just likes to make his opinion known that front-wheel drive is better than rear-wheel drive, which is the incorrect way round, by the way, Scott. In my humble opinion. But Thomas Potter goes for the outside look around Paul Laramie. That's a very outside look, and I'm pretty sure track limits is somewhere a postcode to the right there, Thomas. He didn't overtake Paul Laramie, thank God, otherwise the stewards would have been a little bit interested. But look, Oliver Gibson versus Catherine Potter. Has she learnt a little bit more about defensive driving up the Camel Straight? Nail the apex there, and I think she didn't. I think Oliver Gibson's going to get it before they even get to Eau Rouge.
It looks like he's got his nose in front now, or has he? Cat's still showing. Yeah, Cat's still showing on the timing screen, but now's got to work the outside here. Oh, they have a little bit of a clash, and well, it is only a little bit of a clash. Did Cat manage to carry on? She did. She does, and Oliver settles in behind again. So Cat's still in fourth. Yeah, lightest of clashes. If that had been any bigger, maybe both of them or one of them would have been off. But again, they're trying to be as fair as possible with each other. Paul Laramie's got ahead of Oliver Gibson.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting that Catherine Potter retained that position off the track, but she was pushed off the track. So my humble opinion would be fair game. So Catherine Potter retains the fourth place. It was a very, very brave attempt to go side by side through there. She didn't yield, and it was up to Oliver Gibson to put them both into that position. That's what he did, and now he's paying the price, isn't he? Because not only did Paul Laramie get past, Thomas Potter, who we know is faster. Thomas Potter's best lap is the only driver in the 226s, bar one, Jack Smith. He is now pushing hard against Gibson, and Paul Laramie can see Catherine Potter's car just not in the distance, but less than a second away with 6 to go. This could be crucial. If Catherine Potter can hold off one more attack from Paul Laramie and let them fight behind, she may well hold on to this fourth place.
Yeah, looking good for that at the moment. Also looking good is a challenge for the lead with Daniel Heaps and Jack Smith. 9/10 of a second between the pair of them as we look back from Paul Laramie's car side by side. Thomas Potter having a look at Oliver Gibson, and Thomas gets his nose in front. You can see on the timing screen, indeed gets the whole car in front. So Potter up to 6. He's going to have a race to the flag, I think, with his sister here. Very likely. Again, I can't recall when we've seen the pair of them working together, but Thomas has still got to get past. Well, he's got to recomplete the move now with Oliver Gibson, who of course is fighting back. So Potter and Gibson getting stuck in. Daniel Heaps now half a second ahead of Jack Smith as we go back to the Potter and Gibson battle, and Gibson has got him back. This is the sort of racing we want to see, isn't it?
That's very impressive by Gibson, actually, to be that late on the brakes and still manage to keep it collected and get it done. Jack Smith said that here goes Lee Piercy. I'll come back to what he mentioned in the interview. No, a bit of an optical illusion that. He was trying to threaten Catherine Potter with a move at the inside, but he was far too far back for it. Oliver Gibson, again, getting that sort of cutback and being able to get the drag race on Thomas Potter. But Thomas Potter is still there. In fact, no, Gibson obviously overtook him in the previous chicane. As they go up Eau Rouge, Potter decides not to follow his sister's example by going too wide, but instead just gets a nice drag, gets a nice run, and is ahead on the Camel Straight.
Yes, Lee Piercy goes through in third. Catherine Potter still in fourth. And here comes Paul Laramie again. Second time of asking, having a look. Is he going to be able to get the position? The automat car does get it done, but gets very squirrely. And Catherine will have more momentum and holds on again. Well done, Catherine Potter. Well done also to Paul Laramie for having a go. He just couldn't quite hang on to it. And that is just showing you how difficult Cat is to pass now.
Yeah, and it's very good car control when he was off the circuit, actually, as well.
Yeah, it was.
Paul Laramie for that one, because he could have easily spat him back route the other way and headed into Thomas and Oliver Gibson. It didn't happen. I mentioned that I think all Catherine needs to do is hold off one more attack from Paul Laramie, send him back into the clutches of the cars behind, and she may well have fourth place in her palms of her hands. Paul Laramie didn't lose that much time, though, did he? So it is going to be a case of another couple of laps they'll have to hold off. Speaking of holding off for another couple of laps, Daniel Heaps has been caught by Jack Smith, and it is not going to come down to the final lap here, Richard. I think it's only going to come down for the next 3 or 4 corners.
Could well do, yeah. A lovely flick of the viewing here by Steve, and here comes Jack Smith. He's got the inside run, he's got the momentum as well, side by side outside for this corner, and it's still Daniel Heaps at the moment, and Daniel will probably allow the room because he's that kind of driver. Still hangs on to it. Jack Smith goes back to the inside, going for the cut back on the inside. We see Lee Pearcey still in third place, but here they are still side by side. And Daniel Heaps on the inside here as they come into the chicane. And Jack Smith trying to work his way around the outside and does it. Beautifully done by Jack Smith. Great driving as well from Daniel Heaps on the last corner. But he's down to P2. We've got a double winner, but look at this, side by side they go. And Thomas Potter passes his sister and goes up into fourth place. So Thomas up into fourth now. Paul Laramie still in the mix as well. Oliver Gibson is there too. So it's Smith, Heaps, Lee Pearcey still in third. Bit of a lonely third place at the moment. Thomas Potter up to fourth. Don't think he's going to make the podium in this one unless some misfortune befalls Smith, Heaps or Pearcey ahead of him. But Thomas now trying to pull away from the gaggle behind him. And that's Andy Dorman who takes the, that's a shame for Andy Dorman, right up with that group, had caught that group in actual fact. And that had escaped me, but Andy had driven superbly, but now drops down to 10th.
It does. That is a shame, really, to be honest, because he sort of snuck up in that fight, didn't he? It was really, really interesting when we cut back to it. I thought there was going to be a collection. I thought that Catherine Potter may well potentially miss her braking zone and just tap the rear end of Thomas. And I was thinking maybe Thomas would probably been better off staying in his room to avoid a family argument, as he was mentioning in the interview. But he's managed to get through cleanly. It looked a really good move, actually, didn't it? Siding through. It's a bit of a shame we didn't see the setup, but for understandable reasons, we were looking at the front end of the order to see the new race leader, and well, likely to be the new race winner. Not new race winner, actually, Richard, because he won the last one as well, didn't he? But Catherine hasn't lost the top 5 yet, and I think that should be her objective now. Hold off Oliver Gibson for the next, how long? It might well be a lap and a half. She'll probably be praying that that counter goes down quicker. But Oliver Gibson's all over the back end of her now.
He is. So Oliver Gibson, he's. I'm guessing he'll have enjoyed the race, but it will be a little bit frustrating for him because he makes progress and then gets knocked back a little bit. And he's trying to make some progress now on Cat. Looks on the outside run. Again, can't quite do it. But this is again bringing his arch nemesis from this race back into it. Paul Laramie in 7th, with Lewis Stannard trying to close in on them as well. So Lewis Stannard has gradually crept his way up the order as well. We might see a flash of Lewis go through in a minute. There is Lewis coming into shot as the gap opens up, and on the inside goes Oliver Gibson. Cat Potter relegated. Now Paul Laramie is going to try and follow through as well. Laramie does. So Cat down into 7th place. Lewis Stannard will be the next chaser. And now Paul Laramie's having a go at Oliver Gibson. Gibson's still there in 5th place at the moment. We've got 17 seconds on the clock. Need to try and catch up where the leaders are to see whether this is last or penultimate lap, as Paul Laramie's going to have a go at Oliver Gibson again. Oliver's going to be fed up with him. We see Thomas Potter flash through the shot. Laramie dives down the inside, but of course it's the wrong side for the exit onto the main straight. And the race leaders, of course, have gone through this part of the track, and therefore it is Jack Smith on his last lap. Interestingly, though, it is Daniel Heaps has dropped back to 3rd. Lee Pearcey's gone through, so I think Daniel's had a moment.
Yeah, that's what we can assume, really. The last lap, he was a couple of seconds down. The lap he got overtaken by Jack Smith, he was a couple of seconds down on his sort of regular times, and then he was 4 seconds down on the last lap as well. So yeah, I had a few probably self-inflicted moments potentially. We're not entirely sure, but this is our race leader, Jack Smith, to the tune of about 7 seconds ahead of Lee Pearcey, who you mentioned driving around quite a few times, Richard, in this particular race. I think Lee Pearcey is in with a shout. We didn't see what happened in race 1. I think that's pretty crucial with himself and Rich Hayden, but he was really quick in that race 1. He seems to be really quick here in race number 2 as well. He's a driver we've been speaking about a lot. He's been very entertaining, and that is all the hallmarks for a driver of the round nomination. So it's interesting to see what come of race 3. Catherine Potter down the inside of Oliver Gibson, though. That's something that he probably wasn't expecting. We haven't seen her attack yet. We've seen her do plenty of defense. And Oliver Gibson loses the rear end. Good collection as they go plummeting down towards the midsection and section number 2 of this Spa de Francorchamps circuit. Lewis Stannard's interested. Catherine Potter goes from the attacker to the prey, I think, as Stannard goes up the inside.
He does, yeah. This has brought Lewis Stannard into the mix as well. And up into 7th goes Lewis Stannard. Stationary car there as we go back to Jack Smith on the last lap. It's going to be a double win for our multi-race winner, multi-champion Jack Smith, who is going to take this one. Lee Pearcey in P2. Thomas Potter now ahead of Daniel Heaps and up into another podium. So Potter's going to be adding to the championship points as well. It's only going to take one dodgy race for Jack to lose the championship lead if Potter is consistent. But yeah, Jack Smith has been superb in this one, working his way through, picking the drivers off one by one, and comes out of the final corner to head down towards the checkered flag. Once again, double win for Jack Smith here at Spa. He takes the win. It's Lee Pearcey, now in fact back on the timing screen, or still on the timing screen in second position. And there goes Lee in the blue and white livery BMW across the line, with Thomas Potter in the distance coming up and ready to take third place. And the Pencil of Doom made an appearance there, because I'd written the top three down a lap and a half before the end, and of course it's all changed.
Amateur mistake, Richard. Amateur mistake. I don't expect better from you. That fight though, that race was everything we wanted. If you ignore the first lap, let's say, the rest of it was exactly what we want from a reverse grid race, and why people on paper love it so much, don't they? And yeah, long may it continue. The third race is race 2 and 1 put together, and then reverse. It's complicated, but it will be turn out to be hopefully a great race as well. The likelihood is though, Jack Smith will be at the back of the grid once more.
Yeah, I don't know my maths, but I think Jack might be leading the championship right now.
Oof, I reckon you've got a keen eye for that sort of thing, Richard. Well done.
Let's have a look at where they finished so far. So Jack Smith, the winner from Lee Pearcey, Thomas Potter third, Paul Laramie fourth from Ollie Gibson and Lewis Stannard, Cat Potter in seventh, Jamie Page eighth from Andy Dorman and Andy Carroll. Quality all the way through, and that continues with Scott Bugner and Ollie Smith in 12th, John Jones 13th from Alex Walker. Then it was Rich Hayden 15th ahead of Kenny Press, Jack Dickerson, Daniel Heaps in 18th. Wonder if his tyres went off or he had another moment. It'd be interesting to know. Scott Ferguson 19th from John Wilkie. And then it was Chris Blakey showing us 21st, and 22nd on our list is Caden Cook. And podium interviews after this break. So welcome back, and second race of 3 is complete. Still one to go. It's great having a 3-race format. Very much enjoying it. And third position in that one goes to the Mr. Potter. We get a second chat of the evening. It's a good job I didn't talk too much about the actual race in race 1, because I saved it. We can do it now. How was that race for you?
Well, surprising. I mean, the start was something. My car was terrible in a straight line and round corners, but I still had pace in it, so that's all right. But the start was something. I was like, yeah, let's just follow Jackie. He's normally good at getting through this. So I followed him. And then as I called to Ollie, I tried to go around me outside, and I forgot I had no TC, and I planted my throttle and just spun it. But, well, come back for a third place. But I feel bad for Daniel running out of fuel at the end.
Yeah, it's a shame he had a good run, didn't he? We know he's quick, and he did hold it for a long time. We know he's run races with VRRC before, as have you. And the thing is, Thomas, I've been looking down the list, and I said it when I ran down the result. So many good drivers. I mean, you look at, probably a big percentage of the entire field are capable of podiums or wins.
Yeah, this is the strong. It's either this or the Mini, but I reckon this grid tops it. This is such a strong grid. I mean, but can we just take a second to applaud my sister, holding up everyone for that whole race? What a track!
She wasn't holding them up. She was battling them. But that's I'm getting into taxonomy and semantics. But no, she did well, didn't she?
Yeah, you should have. If I was in this thing, you wouldn't have been able to get a word out of school. Like, come on, Catherine, the whole way through. At one point, I was like, don't overtake. Well, when I went through mid, I was like, I was debating on pushing Catherine. I was gonna back off and let Catherine have it, but then I realised what happened, and it was like a bit too risky. I need some points to try keeping with touching distance of Jack, but
And yeah, and I'm guessing she wants to race you anyway, and she'll look forward to the day when she can beat you and wants to oust you out of the Ginetta Junior midway through next year.
Yeah, believe
Although
me,
she can't though, because she's 18 though, isn't she? She won't be able to do that, so you're safe there.
But that day was almost, well, tonight. But what a drive from her, but also, well, what a drive from everyone on the podium. With Daniel hopes to be first until the last couple of laps, then run out of fuel, but amazing from him, and, well, yeah, amazing drive from everyone, really. If we miss out lap 1, I reckon that would have been the best race of, like, well, VRRC's probably ever had.
It was good anyway, which was super. Points wise, pretty good for you, because obviously it was second to Jack in race 1, third behind Lee in this one to Jack again. But decent points, and you know, if you're getting it all together, you and Jack are going to be, if this carries on, fighting for the championship all the way to the last round.
Well, if you just let me get a good start, then yeah, it will be. But I've got a strange feeling I might drift down a 5th again, so not the best, but a start, and you've got 25 minutes of pure battling, so yeah, it's going to be a good title fight, and well, I just can't wait for it. But quickly, huge thanks to all my partners in my car again, Kate and U5 and Moser, and as well as well, Ben Automotive, which is a charity, and the Ollie Foundation, but as well as Race Against Dimension, which I know Rich is doing a lot for. So, well, huge thanks to them for helping this helping this race.
Nice one, well done, Thomas. Congratulations. Let's go to Jack and our second place man, Lee Pearce.
Thank you.
Yes, Lee, great race from yourself. You've been on our lips for basically both of those races, actually. And with a third one left to go, I can't wait to see what you pull out of the bag. But a second place is a pretty good, strong result there, isn't it? After what was basically catching up Catherine Potter for about 20 minutes.
To be fair, I'm just going to echo what Thomas said. Catherine was flying and driving so well, and actually, like, you know, with the little battle we had door to door was really clean, really good racing. So yeah, hats off to Catherine. She's certainly coming along. So yeah, she's up to her game, that's for sure. And obviously, I don't know all the liveries on the cars, so I'm not really sure who I'm chasing at some points. And I looked up and I was like, wow, she's like, you know, no disrespect to Catherine. Normally we could, you know, it wouldn't take that long to catch her. But yeah, I had to work hard for that one. And at one point, I didn't think I was going to catch her. So yeah, fair play. But yeah, I think that I got lucky on the start. There was a bit of carnage on the start, and I sort of took to the grass to avoid it all and come out unscathed. And yeah, quite a shock. I've not done a lot of practice. I've rebuilt my rig, and it's sort of hobbled together because bits haven't turned up. And yeah, so I'll take a second place, that's for sure. So,
I was going to say, take it and run in those sort of situations, isn't it? Talk us through your rig then. What have you changed?
so I've changed the whole direct drive setup, the wheel. I've moved the whole man cave around, and the actual monitor stand didn't turn up, so they're clamped to a desk which doesn't look strong enough, so the monitors are slightly cattywampus. Yeah, it works. But yeah, I definitely need some more time to get used to the new bits and hopefully get the screen straight by next week. So, but no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you could do once you've got all those bits bolted on properly, that's for sure. And hopefully it doesn't break your desk between now and then. I'll be honest, I have to look back to race 1 a little bit because we didn't get to see what happened.
We won't. We shall not talk about it because the organizer and my teammate will be disgusted if we tell everybody what he did to me. So.
Okay, what he did to you. That's all we needed to know. It's what he did to you. Right,
we'll leave it there.
Right, okay. I look forward to seeing the judicials come out of that one, Lee. Would he be putting in a complaint?
I think he's already written it up himself. I think it's do as I say, not as I do. I believe the rules are around here.
He's humble enough. I know, Rich. He's humble enough to say when he's in the wrong. Fair play.
It's all good.
Lee,
it's all good.
One last question. What do you think of the new format? 3 races.
Yeah, we're going to see. To be fair, this new wheelbase is a lot stronger than I'm used to, so my wrists are already hanging on. So I'll be glad to get this 25 minutes out of the way. But no, 3 races. Yeah, it's definitely 3 races better than qualifying in 2 races. It's more fun for us, and yeah, hopefully more entertaining for you guys.
Far more entertaining, trust me. Lee, thank you very much. Congratulations on
second
place.
Thank you.
And you never know, we might speak to you later.
Never know. Cheers.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Jack, as well. What a second position. I hope I get a chance to chat to you on the podium myself in the next couple of weeks, if not in the next race. Let's move on to our winner, and obviously we try and spread things around commentary-wise, so we get different interviews. And Thomas Potter got to talk to me twice, which was upsetting for him, no doubt. But at least Jack Smith gets someone different to talk to. Well done, Jack. Lovely to catch up with you again. And well done on a win. I was saying that there was, I guess, some doors opened on the first lap, but also you got to pick your way through, haven't you?
You could say that again. A few doors opened, definitely. Didn't expect to find myself in 8th on the first big straight. So bit of a surprise, bit of luck, and last few positions definitely have to work for. I think the same car and everyone using the same setups really sort of leveled the playing field a bit. So like you saw, like Cat is like flying now. No one's got the benefit of having a setup or anything like that anymore. So yeah, Cat did really well. She's flying. And yeah, Dan as well. I only caught him in the last few minutes, so I was stressing, thinking, "Oh, can I even get it? Can I even get the win?" But yeah, we got it in the end. It's a shame I didn't even know he ran out of fuel at the end. That's a real shame. I thought he was in second when I crossed the line. So yeah, got it for Dan for that, because I feel like he really deserved that podium. He drove really well. So yeah, but it was a good race. Again, just got my head down after the carnage. Luckily got away without any massive damage, which was a blessing. So yeah, we got through there and then just head down, chase down the leaders, and yeah, it was from there we just headed on.
And now you've got to do the same again. I mean, we always seem to be having this conversation with you, but back of a 23 car grid, and let's just reflect on 23 cars. It's a great entry, isn't it, for this competition?
Yeah, it's huge. I think this is probably one of the biggest entries we've seen, and I'm same spec and everything. It's the same car for everyone. I think it's gonna be mega. If the championship could stay at this amount of entries for the rest of it, I think it'd be a really, really cool championship. And we've got some really, really cool tracks coming up as well that we've never seen on VRRC. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a really cool championship if it stays like this for sure.
Looking forward to it. I know we've got a few names that are down on the entry list that haven't been able to make it for week one. That very often happens, and of course in the mini championship, Lewis Stannard didn't join till round 2 and then proceeded to win. So maybe we've got a winner somewhere else sort of ready to come in. And people could join at any stage. Quick expectation for race 3 though, Jack, before we go?
Well, if there's no carnage, I'm expecting it to be a lot harder than race 2 for sure. I feel like I got quite lucky there. So yeah, we'll pick our way through, see where we end up, stay out of trouble, and yeah, heads down.
Congratulations on the win. Thanks for having a chat with us, mate. Great to catch up with you again, and good luck for race 3.
Cool, cheers, mate. You too.
Thanks, Jack, very much. So our grid is going to be the reverse of the championship positions, or race 1 and 2 added together, which is more to the point of going forward. And I think we'll see Daniel Heaps on pole with Scott Ferguson next up. It doesn't quite tally with what I've got on my screen at the moment, but I've probably got them in the wrong order looking at the championship server. But we'll look at the timing tower, which has got it. So it's Daniel Heaps with another bite of the cherry with Scott Ferguson alongside. Connor Potter is on row 2 with Jack Dickerson, Kenny Press and Caden Cook on row 3, as the lighting sequence is very nearly complete. And for the third and final time this evening, we're about to go VRRC BMW GT4 racing. It's a great start from Daniel Heaps. Gets away well. Connor Potter up into second position. Scott Ferguson in third as they go through turn 1. I think we've got Rich Hayden fairly near the front as well. But it's Daniel Heaps who will have learned from the last one. Lots of bumping and barging going on and flashing up on the timing screen. But yeah, Daniel Heaps is doing what he needs to do again here to get away with another fast Potter in second position. Connor Potter from Jack Dickerson, Scott Ferguson in fourth. Kenny Press is up into fifth. John Jones, Scott Bugner next up. Then Ollie Smith, Rich Hayden and Chris Blakey wrapping up our top 10. But that was actually a lot more considered, Jack, than the second race start. As the car goes into the barrier.
I had to say it, Richard. Please don't say that's like anybody else. They continue to go round. That's John Jones who's facing the wrong way. Luckily, John probably won't pull into anybody else. I was pumping my fist literally just before we got that contact because I was thinking we get to talk about other people. We don't just have Jack Smith at the front and Thomas Potter. But Ollie Smith is up there as well in 6th place. Now, we haven't seen much of Ollie Smith We haven't seen much of Rich Hayden apart from facing the wrong direction in race number 1 very, very briefly. Chris Blakey, we saw a lot of him, Chris Blakey, in race 1. Actually, didn't we? All my days. And that's Ollie Smith who's going round. He's collecting people off left, right, and centre. One of the DK Motorsports. Have they managed to get through? Just about. They had to slam the brakes on. Catherine Potter gets through as well. I think that is only just. And there's a lot of action that will really hurt potential championships leaders, because I don't know whether that was Jack Smith getting through or whether that was Oliver Gibson. We'll wait and see. Right now, we're looking at Alex Walker, Andy Carroll just ahead. We know Andy's very quick in any car he jumps into a VRRC. Chris Blakey, I mentioned race 1, doing extremely well. Colin Potter, Rich Hayden, Jack Dickerson swapping positions. Scott Bugner, I mentioned Scott Richard, didn't I, the first race, saying I'm surprised how far down he is. He's not far down anymore. He's up into second with Dan Heaps just ahead of him.
Do you know the thing with Scott Bugner is that he has scored well in the 2 races. I mean, he wasn't featuring in our commentary within the top 10, but he's actually had 2 really good solid results. And that's placed him a fair way back on the grid, but he's come through really well, as Scott does, up into P2. And you can never, ever discount him, either from a podium, a win, or indeed being a championship contender, as Thomas Potter takes a big, long dive. And who was that he knocked down? Was that Paul?
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it may well have been, actually. Sorry, I didn't really. I meant to have myself muted when I shouted that, to be honest. I was thinking that's going to be such a late move. You got to break, you got to break, you got to break. He hasn't broke. Oh, my days. Anyway, Thomas Potter, he's a bit too experienced to be making mistakes like that, I have to say. So he'll probably know that himself, that he's done something bad there, and he may well have to have the repercussions from the stewards afterwards. But we'll leave that to the stewards in a different conversation, Richard, because it's not out. It's above our pay grade, isn't it?
It is. We've got another Potter with staying power. That's Connor Potter in 5th position, with Andy Carroll 6th, Alex Walker 7th. Lee Piercy has come through into 8th place, and then Paul Laramie, Thomas Potter in 10th. No doubt with a potential penalty hanging over him now after that, but we'll wait and see. Oliver Gibson 11th, Jack Smith is 12th. So that's where we were heading to see how much progress Jack Smith had made through. Jamie Page gets involved in a little bit of contact. Jamie is further back. Lewis Stannard's doing what Lewis Stannard does, picking his way. He scored well, remember, Lewis Stannard, picking his way through slowly but surely. He did this in the mini races, and he's up into 17th. And I think we'll see Lewis Stannard make some steady place-by-place progress as he learns this car. And remember, he didn't need the first round in the mini championship, so you've only got to get him used to the car, and he will be up for regular podiums. But he's already scoring consistent points and getting consistent place gains from near the back of the grid.
Does Lee Piercy remember where the track is?
Probably not.
He was all the way on the outside there, wasn't he? Andy Cowell versus Colin Potter and Alex Walker. Is a nice little battle going in for the top 5 positions. Andy Carroll just in the lead of this little gaggle. Colin Potter, Alex Walker again. I like the fact that we're talking about other people. Richard. Yeah. Oh, Paul Laramie goes round. And I think I saw a shout for Paul, potential driver of the round, in the YouTube comments. His race 3 doesn't seem to be going all that his way either. And I think it has to be something special to beat Catherine after that race 2 as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Somebody might pull something out of the bag here. I'm hoping, Richard, more than anything, I'm hoping that Daniel Heaps has changed the amount of fuel in his car so he doesn't run out again, because otherwise we can basically just say that Scott Bugner's in first place as Connor Potter goes wide against Alex Walker.
Yeah, Connor Potter with a lap delivery. Well. Yeah, he does. Connor goes through, and then Thomas Potter. So Potter's side by side again. And if they all go for a drink, it'd be a Potter's bar, wouldn't it?
Hey, I like that. Oh, my days! Thomas Potter didn't like it, though.
Yeah, that is a little bit of karma, isn't it? Because he did have that lunge and contact earlier on, but he's recovered really well, Connor. Thomas Potter there recovered very well. Heaps Bugner, Rich Hayden. We haven't mentioned Rich Hayden, potentially on for a podium here.
Yeah, that's true, actually. He's got himself a really nice gap, hasn't he? Ahead of Chris Blakey, behind Scott Bugner. That's not a bad place to be. In anyone's books, to be honest. So he's really going strong here, is Rich, and now he's out of the melee of the mid-pack, which we're clearly seeing can take hold of anybody as the DK Motorsport drivers try and find their way through, Jack Smith specifically. We're starting to see a little bit of pace from Rich, which I think he was probably hoping to show a little bit earlier in the evening. You've got to take the opportunities when they can, and he's taking it now.
Yeah, didn't he run out of petrol here at Spa, or was that somewhere else in one of the previous races? You won't. I don't think you were with us for that one.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I was going to say I
Jack,
wouldn't
but
know.
I'm pretty sure he'll crucify me for this, but I'm pretty sure he ran out of petrol, and I vaguely remember it was Spa, so he's probably learned from that. But
Well,
anyway,
don't worry. Out of the two of us, Richard, I think he'll be more angry with me with everything I've said about him on this. I think you'll be in the clear. You're the golden child right now.
I don't think so. Where are we? Oliver Gibson trying to work his way through. Alex Walker immediately ahead, and then it is Lee Pearson. So Lee Pearson's having a good run here as well. Really interesting to hear about his revamped rig. And great to see Lee up at the sharp end as Oliver Gibson tries to work his way through. Still very physical, isn't it, down that order. Andy Dorman in behind him as well. You'd never discount Andy Dorman from anything as well. 11th is, have a look down. Well, it's showing Oliver Gibson's. My screen needs to refresh. Let's go back up. Thomas Potter, yeah, thank you very much. In 11th, I should have just looked at the screen rather than the timing screen to see who it was, because it's the turquoise and blue. So Thomas Potter carries on. Connor Potter down behind him at the moment in the Napa livery. Nice to see the Napa livery is carrying on as well, because obviously we had a fair few of those in the Mini Championship. Don't know if that's the livery Connor ran in the touring car head-to-head. Again, I need to probably go back and have a look at some of those at some point and get some highlights. But it's still very crowded, isn't it, for top 10 points here?
It is extremely crowded. Normally after about 7 minutes, 8 minutes, we are starting to think about it calming down a touch, but people haven't got through anywhere near as quickly as they normally do, let's say, or they did in race number 2, owing to the fact that there wasn't as much carnage. Oh my days, you couldn't make it up, could you? There is carnage right there, and I believe that was Jack Smith going round, and who else was going round there? It wasn't Rich Hayden, but it was a similar looking car.
I think that was Connor Potter, I think.
John Jones also went round.
Oh, right, okay. I think Connor might have been on the front end of it, or it remains to be seen, but it was definitely some blue, although he's still going, actually, isn't he, with Jamie Page catching up with him as well at the moment. But out of all that, Jack Smith's still in 6th at the moment. Heaps, Bugner and Hayden are the top 3, with Chris Blakey 3rd, Andy Carroll in 5th place. It's really odd for me getting into a round and not having interviewed Andy Carroll, because he was a regular on the mini podium, and it kind of, you know, he wasn't quite the Jack Smith of the minis, but he wasn't far away. It was pretty much him and Lewis Stannard that we were probably interviewing the most during the mini competition. And Andy in 5th here, so he's probably due a podium.
Yeah, I think, who's that just gone out of shot on the right-hand side? Lee Pearcy. Maybe his desk broke. He put that direct drive a bit too high, maybe. Hopefully not. Lee, he's facing the right direction yet again. Is Alex Walker. Not sure if he's just been overtaken by Thomas Potter or he's caught up to the back of the teapot. But Alex Walker, who is a driver who we've seen quite a lot in this race, actually, Richard, isn't it? He's been sideways, he's been bumped, he's been grinded left, right and centre, but he is still there and he's making a name for himself, and I quite like it, because he's not driven dirty, but his car is also quite dirty, so he's really got himself in the thick of it, let's put it that way.
So is he the grinder then? Are you giving him a new nickname?
I think he's probably not going to be loving the idea of being called a grinder, but yeah, we can call it for the time being.
Having a good race anyway, 8th position, trying to chase Thomas Potter. Potter trying to close in on Jack Smith at the moment, so they are 1st and 2nd in the championship coming into race 3. And here is Jack Smith closing up on Andy Carroll, so the scalps get harder to get as you climb your way through the field. So that race triple win is going to be very hard earned if it comes, but Daniel Heaps will certainly have something to say about that. Jack Smith at the moment is, what have we got? 2nd to 2nd place, another 2, so it's 3, 4, 5. So around about 10 seconds to make up on the race leader at the moment. Daniel Heaps going through with Scott Bugner closing in on him, so we've got a race for the lead maybe incoming. Certainly Scott Bugner will want to do that, but of course if they engage, they'll slow each other up, allow Rich Hayden, Chris Blakey and company to close in on them. Let's have a look at the lap times for Scott Bugner. Quicker last lap, 2:27. 8:05. Fastest lap with Jack Smith, unsurprisingly, 2:27.044, and Jack Smith makes it through. So Jack Smith now into 5th position, and Andy Carroll down in 6th behind him. Andy might want to sort of tail him for a bit to try and continue a run up the field and maybe up towards a podium. Andy Carroll, always a good consistent point scorer, and as I said, was very rarely off the podium in the mini championship. And looking back a little bit further, Andy Dorman being chased by Jamie Page. We've got Alex Walker in the mix in front in the orange and black. Wasn't the Halfords livery going back orange and black in the touring cars? Or am I thinking something else?
No, it was, yeah. The Yuasa Racing Halfords livery style thing, I'm pretty sure, was all black and orange as well, wasn't it? So, yeah, it's quite a nice looking car, to be fair. It's not on a Honda Civic, so it can't be Yuasa Racing, but yeah, it is a nice looking car, even if it is scuffed up a little bit, as I mentioned. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with a bit of bump and grind, Richard, at the end of the day, is there? So maybe Alex Walker is enjoying the fact he's getting stuck in to the racing, and I think he may well have to get stuck in once more, because he's going to have to get his elbows out as we see Scott Bugner towards the front catching up with Daniel Heaps.
Yeah, how are they going to engage, and if so, how long for? Will they slow each other up and allow the rest of them to close in? But Heaps is under a bit of pressure. We do know that Daniel is good under pressure. We also know that Scott Bugner is a very good attacking driver, and he's caught up. He's just chipped away at the race lead. There we see the blue and white of Rich Hayden in third place. Chris Blakey in the gold and black fourth position car at the moment. So Scott has caught, but thus far not been able to put a move on the race leader. So it's the young Irish lad that is there at the moment out front, and will do his best to hold on. Bit of background. As I say, I can't remember, Jack, whether you've commentated on Daniel, but a teenager doing drifting over in Ireland, and that is bad news for Alex Walker. Has a jar racing, quick recovery, but loses a couple of places.
Yeah, no, he's probably going to lose an awful lot more as the go Pro Rouge. I haven't commentated on Daniel before, but he's about to be overtaken by Scott Bugner on the first time I am commentating on him. Oh, Bugner with a big dive. Neither of them hit the brakes early enough there, and I think Bugner should probably give that place back. He doesn't need to give it back because Daniel holds on to it for the time being, but that was a big lunge. They probably did the right thing. I was going to mention that Rich Hayden was 0.6 of a second quicker than Daniel Heaps before they even started fighting at the front. Well, after that little incident, Rich is all the way up on them now. So it's going to be a three-way fight before they know it. You mentioned Scott. Does he go for the move on Daniel? I think he has to. It needs to be better than that, though.
He does, yeah. He needs to get past, but you know, Daniel's holding his own and isn't going to wave him past or anything like that. No after you, Claude, is there in this type of racing? So he will stay out front as long as it takes. That ultimately, of course, might jeopardise one chance perhaps that Scott Bugner's got if he can get away. He's clearly been a little bit quicker to be able to catch up, but now can't get past, and they'll slow each other up. They're certainly causing or allowing Rich Hayden to close in, and probably Chris Blakey in fourth, and then Jack Smith another 2 seconds down on Chris Blakey. Andy Carroll in sixth, Thomas Potter seventh, Jamie Page having another good strong run in eighth place from Andy Dorman. Oliver Gibson is in 10th place. Then it's Alex Walker and Lewis Stannard. Let's have a look back. Catherine Potter's up to 15th. Remember, Catherine scored well in this, actually up to 14th place. Connor and Catherine have a little bit of a run together. I can't remember what relation Connor and Catherine are, possibly cousins, but we'll stand to. Sorry?
I don't think there is a relation. I got told there's no relation whatsoever.
Okay,
as
fair enough.
Goes through.
Scott Bugner finally gets the lead, so we'll see whether Daniel Heaps can fight back. Daniel will if he can, and he's already having a look at a slightly different line. Rich Hayden trying to engage as well. Bugner needed to do that. If he was quicker on the close, I'll tell you what, he's been put under a fair bit of pressure here from Daniel Heaps, with Rich Hayden closing in, Chris Blakey closing up as well. We'll see Jack Smith at the back of this little group as well. It would make sense if they're not related, but they all tend to hang around together at the racetracks. Usually see Connor with Catherine and Thomas when they're supporting the touring car events, doing their charitable bits around the BTCC meetings. So is Scott Bugner going to pull away now? Daniel Heaps, to me, looks fast enough to hang on to him for now.
I think he is. I am still slightly worried that he hasn't fueled himself properly. I really hope he remembered to do that. But it's 9 minutes to go. He's certainly still got speed under his hood, but has he got enough to attack on Scott Bugner, who we've seen catch up pretty easily? The now is the test of whether he can pull away. 3 or 4 attempts to the good for the time being, and Rich Hayden, crucially, hasn't really managed to get back up. Now, that looks like Daniel Heaps had a load more speed, so he really piled on the pressure, but actually Scott Bugner knew he just had the space to be able to take that later apex, which is the faster line, and that's why he's gained another 0.2 of a second out of Daniel Heaps. It's a bit of an easy, if Heaps saw that space on the inside going into the entry of that corner, it's easy to chuck your car up there and really get that short-term game, isn't it, Richard? But realistically, you need to have the longer idea in your head that the exit is more important.
You do, yeah. That is so key as we pop back and pick up on Oliver Gibson and Andy Dorman. This is for 8th place. Thomas Potter ahead of them in 7th. So Oliver scored decent points as well. Jack Smith now 1.9 seconds down on Chris Blakey. So closing in on that quartet with 8 minutes to go. He'd be brave to bet against Jack maybe getting the hat trick, but he's going to have to do a lot of overtakes in 8 minutes and a fair bit of catching as well. Having said that, though, the leaders are only a second apart. Rich Hayden's now only 0.2 down on Daniel Heaps for 3rd place, so things are closer. Chris Blakey 2 seconds down, so the work that Jack Smith's got to do is to try and catch. As here we go, this is the battle for second, and Rich Hayden has a go. Can't quite do it, but he's really putting Daniel Heaps under pressure now.
Yeah, he actually looked at that move really early, and I could see it coming and thinking, for God's sake, I hope Daniel Heaps can see that coming as well. And you can see him, that's a big lunge as well. It's Rich Hayden trying to get the car stopped, and I tell you what, he did. That's impressive with the brake pedal, but it's just going to slow them all up. It went from a 1 second gap between these two and Scott Bugner, the race leader, to a 2.3, 2.5, maybe even 3 seconds by the time they get to the chicane, as they've invited Chris Blakey and that all-important man, Jack Smith, into the idea as well. Going on to that chicane move, I did think Rich is going to send it a little bit too far back, but luckily Daniel Heaps saw it. He hit the brakes. He just straightened up his car. He allowed the space for Rich Hayden and then got the answer back for him. But as Rich is now colliding down towards the end of the Kemmel Straight, he had Chris Blakey looking up his inside. He needs to be smarter about how he's going about it, but I like the entertainment factor, Richard. I like the fact that we're seeing long lunges, and I like that Daniel Heaps saw it coming as well and made his way out of the way.
I was going to say I like the fact that we're watching 3 cars dicing, but you can make that 4 because we've got the double race winner on the back of them, as you rightly pointed out. And that's going to throw another spanner in the works, isn't it? They are all together now. Scott Bugner 2.8 seconds clear, made his move probably, I wouldn't say exactly the right time. He would have liked to have been through earlier, but he's got through early enough now just to start building a bit of a gap. 2.73 seconds with 6 minutes 10 on the clock. Jack Smith will probably now be just thinking about points and maybe getting up onto the podium. That will certainly be his first target. And Chris Blakey can't seem to do anything about Rich Hayden. Rich needs to be having another go at Daniel Heaps. Daniel driving another good race here at the front. This will build his confidence for the upcoming rounds over the next few weeks. And I feel sure that we're going to see the possibility of all of these 4 drivers that we're looking at taking race wins. Obviously, that's a silly thing to say because we've already seen Jack Smith do 2 of them. But the other 3 drivers certainly are very well capable of taking race wins with VRRC. And Jack Smith now up with Chris Blakey. Is he going to be the first driver of the 4 to make a move and make a pass as we head towards the 5-minute bracket?
Yeah, 5 minutes ago. It feels like this. We've had an awful lot of racing. It's weird, isn't it? We've only had 1 extra race, but I know that's 30% more, 33% more racing than we normally. Sorry, no, it's 50% more racing than we normally have. But it does feel like an awful lot for these drivers, and we're just wondering, are they going to get slightly tired? Are we going to see some drivers lapse concentration levels because of the extra strain that they're being put under here? But Jack Smith looks like he's just lunged. Sorry, no, that wasn't Jack Smith lunging on everybody else. It was Rich Hayden trying to hold on, and he hasn't held on as Chris Blakey goes through. Daniel Heaps has gone through. Jack Smith has gone through. Rich Hayden has gone from fighting for second to fighting to stay inside the top 5. He is going to do that. He's got a massive gap behind him to Andy Cowell. But it's going to be a big switch around, and they're not done yet. He could see his name move 3 places further up if he is playing this smart, because here comes Jack Smith. Rich Hayden needs to get into the slipstream of Jack Smith because he's going to be the car that will end up here in 2nd place. I'm putting my name on it already. Rich Hayden's gone to the outside, though. He's going to try and go around the outside of Daniel Heaps. Slips down to 5th place. Jack Smith has gone through. Chris Blakey will slip down, and there goes Daniel Heaps on the left-hand side.
Oh, such a shame for Daniel Heaps. If there was unluckiest driver of the race, it's him. But Jack Smith will look and see that Chris Blakey is trying to have another go at here with Rich Hayden back in 4th place. So podium at the moment, Bugner, Smith and Blakey, with Hayden trying to have another go as well. Such a big pity for Daniel Heaps. I think he's recovered, showing 7th on the timing screen as having recovered. But what a pity for him. Thomas Potter in 6th. Daniel Heaps now 7th. Oliver Gibson 8th from Andy Dorman. Jamie Page again, consistent here with a 10th position. Lee Piercy 11th. Then Lewis Stannard and Catherine Potter in 13th, who has made progress. Remember, scored well in the first 2 races. So Catherine's again made progress in this one. Not into the top 10 yet and not dicing for a podium, but again showing pretty well. Scott Bugner 5 seconds clear now. He's made the most of this squabble going on behind him, and it looks like Scott Bugner could be on for the race victory here with 3 minutes 11 to go as Chris Blakey tries not to lose touch with Jack Smith. What an impressive result it will be. 2 wins in the second if Jack can hang on to it. No reason to suppose he won't. Remember, the cars are running his setup here. Maybe we should get a lottery and get another driver to ping a setup for other rounds. I don't know if that's how it works or whether that's workable, or maybe that's a bit bonkers. But you know, Jack's sort of setting the rules, isn't he, for this one? His setup, and of course you'd want Jack doing it because, as you mentioned at the top of the show, he is involved heavily in motorsport engineering and good at that. So his settings will be they'll help people in the championship in the long run.
I should stress that yes, he has had a major influence on the setup, but it's also it's also in conjunction with Chris Blakey making himself acquainted with the wall at La Source. It's in conjunction with Rich Hayden as well and a few other consultants. So yeah, Jack has given a setup. It's not the setup he probably would have on the car for every single round. It's the setup he thinks is fast and accessible and will appease the most amount of people. So that is worth stressing as Rich Hayden goes to overtake Chris Blakey. And they do have a little bit of leeway on a few things, but not much. One of which is the amount of wing they can take. And I don't imagine many drivers will have left a massive amount of wing on Spa, because obviously you need to have that slipstream, as Rich Hayden has just so utilised down the Kemmel Straight and a few other places. But yeah, it is worth noting they can change the wing, they can change the brake bias, the ABS, the traction control, the fuel, hence why Daniel has underfueled in that previous race, and the tyre pressures. So there is still a little bit of tweaking, but realistically, Jack has given a setup that hopefully everyone can drive pretty quickly and feels good on the car.
Yeah, absolutely right. I tell you what, Rich Hayden really worked hard with that with Chris Blakey. That was a great battle to watch, and the patience and efforts have been rewarded for Rich at the moment with 3rd place, but Chris Blakey is going to try and fight back. Still Scott Bugner out front. The gap has come down to from 5.5 seconds to 3.5 seconds. Bugner to Smith, but Scott Bugner, as I say, just made that break at the right time. I think if it had been any later, he'd have maybe been embroiled in a 5-car scrap for the lead rather than a 4-car scrap for 2nd place as Rich Hayden. I'll tell you what, Chris Blakey's not finished yet, is he? He could be in contention possibly for driver of the day as well. But there goes Smith. It's Hayden in the podium seats at the moment with 32 seconds to go. How do we reckon this is going to fall out lap time? Is this not quite the last lap? One more to go, I think.
Yeah, I think one more. Scott Bugner. So with 20 seconds to go around the final corner, we're definitely going to have a second lap. Yeah, Chris Blakey for me, there might be a slight spoiler out there for the driver of the round, but my personal vote that we discussed in the chat, for me, Chris Blakey is probably a 2nd place. He's driven really well, went under the radar in race 1. And race 3, obviously, he's been very strong again. Race 2, I'm not really sure what happened to him, but he's taken a little lunge up here, the inside of Rich Hayden. I thought he was going to get reacquainted with the wall, but he's introduced the wall to Rich Hayden instead, turning him round, and on the pit exit, Rich Hayden is looking the wrong way. And I tell you what, for all the mick I take out of Rich, that's heartbreaking, because he had driven really well in this race. Not sure what he did on the previous couple of races, but this race in particular, he'd driven really well. He deserved the chance at a podium, if not getting the podium, and I think Chris Blakey will probably feel quite guilty about that one.
I know he will. I know Chris is like that. That means Thomas Potter's just passed Andy Carroll. So if Chris is involved in a judicial, Thomas Potter gets a 3rd podium of the meeting. Not sure when the judicials are being done, but Andy Carroll will have something to say about that as well. And of course, it may or may not go to judicial, but we wait and see. But yeah, that was real.
Richard, sorry. Does Teapot have a judicial held over his head for this race as well, potentially?
Yeah, for
He had that problem.
He did, didn't he? Yeah. So we might be seeing an Andy Carroll podium potentially. So keep your eyes on the socials to see who gets what. And I won't be. I did a VRRC post-judicial podium this morning with Jack Sant, who got his first podium in the Fiesta Juniors. But Andy Carroll wants to put this to rights anyway, and he's back on the inside of Thomas Potter. We are over time in this race, so it's Scott Bugner leading now by 2.45 seconds, and a cracking race going on between this pair, Carroll and Potter. Potter back on the inside run, but it's Scott Bugner, our race leader, who is going to be our second winner of the evening. By the look of it, with 2.3 seconds clear as Andy Carroll. His teammate is back into fourth position. Who knows? Possibly potential post-judicial podium. We'll wait and see, and we'll let you know next week when I'm sure you will join us to find out how this is going to continue on. But yeah, Scott Bugner's driven so well as we watch Chris Blakey, who's going to be gutted about the contact. But you know what? We're going to get some contact over the course of the racing. It just depends how much, who, where and what. As we go back to Scott Bugner through the final couple of corners, he's going to be pleased with this. He wasn't even right at the front for this one. It's not a front of the grid win. He's had to work his way through, which he's done. And he knows that and should be rightly delighted to take the checker flag. Scott Bugner the winner. Jack Smith in P2. Chris Blakey crosses the line third ahead of Andy Carroll with Thomas Potter in fifth. Rich Hayden recovers for sixth position. Then it's seventh goes to Oliver Gibson, waiting for Oliver to cross the line, which he does from Daniel Heaps. Daniel, I'm really pleased Daniel got it to the end of the race there, eighth position. A reward for a tough evening, really, you have to say. Andy Dorman ninth, then it was Jamie Page, Lee Piercy 11th, Lewis Stannard in 12th place, Catherine Potter 13th from Caden Cook, who had a good race there. Well done, Caden. Ollie Smith 15th from Paul Laramie and Jack Dickerson. John Jones 18th from Alex Walker, into the drivers having some issues. Scott Ferguson 20th, and then, that's changed, yeah, Scott Ferguson 20th, and Connor Potter 21st. We'll have a chat with our podium runners in just a couple of minutes. So welcome back to our podiums, and we do get to crown our driver of the day as well. But before that, we're going to do our virtual podium of our top three. So I'm going to hand you over to Jack, who's going to interview Chris Blakey, who crossed the line in third place.
Chris, you just mentioned something before we came back live during the advert that you probably know what I'm going to bring up here with you. Would you like to do that apology in public as well?
There was a tiny bit of contact, yes. We will leave it till the clerk's decision. Unfortunately, it was the clerk that I hit. So we can kind of see where this might end up going.
I am impartial at all times.
Indeed you are. But yeah, that's not how I wanted that to end. We were having a cracking race. I had a good lunge. Got alongside. It's just on the outside. I got a little squirrely. I think I might have had a tap. He might come across a little bit. I didn't look at the replay. It's not how I want to end the race. It is what it is. like I say, I'm enjoying racing with Rich, and it's just a shame it had it end that way.
Let's
We
move
were
on from it
extremely
then.
close.
Yeah, let's move on from that a little bit because it was an epic race from start to finish, realistically, wasn't it? And I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the new formats. I'm sort of asking everybody that this evening. But realistically, it doesn't matter what the format is. It doesn't really matter what the cars are. A good race is a good race. How much did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. The cars are so close and so matched, and because everything's fixed, it doesn't. There's things I'd like to do to the car to make it better, to make it drive better to me, but we're all in the same boat, so we're all got to live with it. And yeah, it's got some really close races. The second race kind of went a bit to pot, and I ended up having to retire. But after that first lap shenanigans, but yes, the first race went great. Got up into fifth, I think. Was chasing down Lewis for fourth. So yeah, it's good start. So.
Yeah, I sort of mentioned that you went a little bit under the radar in race one. We were chatting about a few other people that maybe had a bit closer racing and stuff like that, because you were, I think, operating at about fifth, weren't you, for the majority of that race one. What was it like in that position where you were a little bit slightly no man's land from memory, where you couldn't quite catch up to the people to really put a fight to them in front, but also you were watching people behind you who are having a good battle? Was it a case of that was actually really nice for you because you got a proper learning experience in race spec?
Yeah, it was just trying to get the times down, because I think the fastest I did in practice was a 26.9. I got to in practice, but obviously the guys in front of me were down into, like, obviously Jack's 26.4, 3s or whatever it was. But just to kind of learn to see where people faster than me were taking different lines, and that it was good. There was a good bit of ebb and flow between me and Lewis as well, just to kind of sort of try and catch him as well. So it was a good race. Enjoyed it.
Good stuff. Before we let you go, is there anybody you would like to give a shout out to?
My beautiful girlfriend, sorry, fiance now, and race manager, Bex. She's about somewhere where she's looking after me. So, and the dog is bugged off now. She was here, but yeah, fiance getting prep ready for this weekend, because we're racing at Croft this weekend. So if anyone wants to come see the BMW CCR guys at Croft, we are racing at Croft all weekend. So.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Chris. Big congratulations on the provisional third place, I'm going to say it. And a congratulations to Andy Dorman. No, I'm kidding. We'll move on. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
I thought Jack was going to say congrats. Yeah, that would be the one, wouldn't it? Andy Carroll was next up, I think, in the queue. I thought congratulations on the engagement when Chris said about fiance now, so we will.
I didn't know whether that was old news or whether that
it was just a slip of the tongue.
Well, we're delighted that you got engaged at some point anyway, which is good. Well done, Chris, and good luck for Croft as well. Be keeping an eye out for the results this weekend. So anyone that's racing this weekend, have a good, great, safe weekend. We're moving on to P2, and luckily enough, I get a second chance to talk to Jack Smith, and pretty as near as you can get to 3 wins, Jack. Not a bad evening.
It was a proper good evening for myself. I tried my hardest to catch up to Scott, but I pushed a little too hard right at the end there. Sent it into the gravel, lost a load of time, but yeah, no. Did as much as I could do this evening, so come away with nearly maximum points, which you can't really argue with, and you put the work in, you get the rewards out. So yeah, super happy with tonight.
That's good. I mean, it's a quality field. We've been covering that pretty much all evening. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you, is it easier coming from the back when you come across another 3 cars all battling, which is what happened to you, that battle for second place, or is it easier to pick them off one by one?
In a battle it is a little easier, because you can suss the battle in front of you. I think in race 1 in race 2 I had a triple overtake because of that. It was like they were all just battling each other, and I just snuck down the inside and took all 3 of them at once. So yeah, it's definitely easier when they're in a group. When it's one-on-one, it's a little bit trickier, because the car's solely focused on you. So definitely a lot easier when you're battling in a pack. I got a little bit caught up with, I think it was Chris and Rich. So yeah, got stuck behind them for a little bit, and it was a good battle throughout the whole thing. Though really, it was quality from those guys. Been racing Chris and everyone like that for years now. So it's it's a great laugh with them guys anyway. They always give a load of respect when racing, so it's always quality, and I'm sure it looked really good on the stream as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it did. It was good. It was good to work on as well. It's nice to have you back in a championship that I'm commentating on for Rich and everybody, which is good. We've spoken a lot about the virtual world. Tell us a little bit about how things are going in the real world for you right now.
Yeah, not bad, mate. To be honest, getting closer to driving in real life again, which would be really cool. And yeah, I'll be driving a very similar looking car to well, not the M4 GT4 as much as I wish, but yeah, right. A similar livery to what we're running tonight, which would be really cool. And yeah, just super excited to get back on track again in real life. Done a few track days and stuff in a few different cars to keep me eye in. Sent my own car around, and now I need new brake pads, so yeah, that's good. But yeah, the joys of actually having to pay for your racing. It's yeah, but you know, it's really good to do my own driver coaching now. So I've got my own coaching little thing going on. So if anyone does want to get some one-on-one coaching, jacksracingschool.com. It's the first result on Google as well if you type in Jacks Racing School. You can get involved. It's got loads of people from VRRC and everyone getting involved with that, and yeah, seeing some really good results from people. So yeah, busy, but yeah, it's keeping me on my toes.
I can't remember you doing real world coaching as well.
Yeah, well, I can definitely do real world coaching. But yeah, it's you know, not really got the clientele yet for that. I just need a few results under my belt, I think, in real life, and then I can broaden my horizons to that. But yeah, I know what I can do. I can think of
less successful drivers that are coaching, to be perfectly honest, mate. But, yeah. I won't name names, and I'm not going to just they're doing what they're doing, which is great. But you know, what I'm saying is, don't sell yourself short. I think you're obviously well capable of doing that. But what a great evening for you, and really well done. Pole position, 2 wins in the second. You know, that's kind of what the reverse grid thing's for, isn't it? To try and spice things up a bit. And yeah, we're looking forward to next week. Thoughts on Watkins Glen? Is that one that you've raced on before?
Watkins, I've not really done many league races there. I know the track very well, so I'm not really well versed in racing it though. So it's going to be a little bit hit or miss. I've not raced it in GT4s either, so it's going to be a learning curve for myself. But yeah, it's a really cool track. I'm sure it's going to provide some really cool racing. I know it does it with NASCAR, IMSA, and all that sort of stuff. It's a nice mixed calendar for this season, which would be a little different, something a little bit exciting to look forward to. So yeah, and then the reverse grid stuff, I'm really enjoying that as well. It's super different, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable. Just like finding your way through the pack. I think the stream's probably going to be really good. There's like action all the way to the end of the race and everything like that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this season, and yeah, we've got off to a really mega start. So yeah, just got to keep the form up, and yeah, we'll see where we go.
Nice one. Have a good week. Give our regards to everyone at the Hop Cavern, and we'll raise a virtual glass to those guys, and we'll see you next week.
Of course, yeah, no worries. Thank you for hosting as always, and a quick shout out to my girlfriend as well. I know she's watching at home, so yeah, shout out to Liv all the way over at Colne, hour and a half away. So yeah, I know she's watching, but yeah, that's all from me.
Nice one. Thanks very much, and well done again, Jack Smith in P2, and back to Jack for our winners interview.
Yes, thank you very much, and I can bring in Scott Bugner, a driver who we haven't seen much apart from that third race. And Scott, that was pretty bang on, wasn't it, really? A good push to the front, a good battle with Daniel Heaps. It had everything for you, really, and you managed to pull away nice and calmly.
Yeah, no, it was a really good race. I've been trying different setups throughout this evening because I can't quite get to grips with it yet. But I think we found a decent base setup now that we can work on, and then fingers crossed we can get a few more of them wins throughout the season.
When you say setup, the setup's fixed, do you mean what, changing wing and tyre pressure?
Yeah, I think just like the wing makes a bit of a difference, and just I think it's more the brake bias for me at the minute. I'm quite a late braker, and I dive into a corner. I kind of veer off rather than sort of turn in late and get a tighter exit. So that doesn't really work very well in these at the minute. Well, I can't get that to work very well at the minute. So it's just trial and error at the minute with different brake bias settings and different wing settings. But Jack and Rich both sort of gave me some indicators on what to do and what to try. So we'll definitely be trying that for the next one.
When you pulled up to Daniel, it did look like that the move could take you a little while because you gave it a little bit of a go. You lost an awful lot of time. That allowed Rich to come into the fray. How worried were you that, oh, I actually have to get this done now because Rich was actually really quick in that race?
Yeah, I was watching mine and Rich's lap times, and we're very, very close lap time wise. Sort of he'd go 10th quicker than me, I'd go 10th quicker than him, vice versa. And then I went for one move on Dan into the chicane after the came off straight, and I don't know, we touched, so I backed off a little bit. He straight line the chicane. I made sure he got back in front, and then we carried on and we did it again. But yeah, as soon as I looked in my mirror again, I could see that Rich was, sort of around a second behind. I thought we need to get a move on here. So and I knew people like Chris and Andy and Jack are going to be closing in fast. So I needed to get in and get out the way and go.
How are you feeling after 3 races? Normally we only do 2. You've done a qualifying. You've basically done 4 sessions this evening. Has it made it? Have you noticed the extra length? I mean, obviously we won't have qualifying in next rounds and stuff like that. But those 3 races, have you definitely noticed it?
Slightly. To be fair, the first race for me was very plain and simple. I sort of started 9th and finished 9th, and I had a 5-second gap in front of me and a 5-second gap behind. For me, it was just like a bit of a practice session, which is kind of what I needed, because I could then try something different to what I did in quali, and it didn't quite work. And then we tried something else in race 2, but I got caught up in the incident, so that threw that totally out the window. So yeah, I quite like it. I do quite enjoy the 3 races, and I think it definitely gives a different dynamic with the reverse grids as well, because it gives people more of a chance to get away when there is slight incidents, and take a win. So yeah, no, it's really good. I enjoy it.
Fantastic stuff. Right, Scott, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
My son, who broke his finger. I'm not going to say how. We were throwing a ball in the front room, which I probably shouldn't have done, and I threw it's only a sponge ball, but I threw it and he didn't catch it. It bounced in his face. He went down to the floor, and as he went down to the floor, he bent his little finger back, so he's broken his finger. So, but he got a day off of school off of it, so I'm sure he'll thank me for it. And it's my mum's birthday today, so happy birthday to my mum.
Fantastic. Happy birthday to Mrs. Bugner. And also, I love the fact that you said he broke his finger. I'm not going to say how it happened, and then instantly told it.
Well, I try and make it sound better than what it was. For me to say I threw a ball in his face and he broke his finger, it probably doesn't sound great. So just to say that he misjudged catching it.
Finger is what we need to tagline that with. There we go.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. Fantastic, Scott. Congratulations on the race win. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you throughout the season.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Thanks very much, Jack, on the win. And Scott said in a message to me on Discord, said I won't get to talk to you because I don't like rear-wheel drive, but there you go. But he didn't get to talk to me, he got to talk to Jack, which was great. So driver of the round, and there isn't really any surprise, is there, at this one? Our driver of the round, congratulations, Cat Potter, very well done. And well, we need feedback from you now.
Thank you. I didn't expect this.
Oh, absolutely brilliantly driven. It was that second race, I think, is probably the performance that sealed it. Tell us a bit about that race from your perspective.
Well, I managed to break clear at the start when everyone else was crashing into each other, and I just kind of stayed calm and held my ground. I mean, I did have some pressure when the top guys were right behind me, but surprisingly I managed to also overtake them at points, which was pretty cool.
Oh, this has been, you sound a bit surprised. I don't think we are, because we've seen you, as Thomas did, back in the day, starting to get results from reverse grid races. But the point I made in the commentary was you weren't actually starting that near the front in race 2. You made progress to go up there, and you very kindly said about other cars going off. But that was actually a very well-earned front position at the start of the race, and well kept too.
Yeah, I mean, it was unexpected, especially when they were all catching me back up. I mean, I was second for more than half of the race, I think, so that's an achievement for me.
It was brilliantly done, and I guess us talking to you means that we're keeping you off the server. Do you do as much practicing as everybody else? We've already got, by the way, Lewis Stannard and Jack Smith. This is setting the benchmark, isn't it, for next week? They're already on the server and practicing at Watkins Glen. When will you get on, Catherine?
I'll probably be on tomorrow. I mean, I did do quite a lot of practice for this round because, well, my brother was helping me out, showing me where to go, so a huge thanks to him for all of his help and support.
That's good. Well done, Tom. I know he's very proud of you in the 2 podiums that he had as well. What does your week look like? I think you're coming down. We might see you at Silverstone at the weekend.
Yeah, you'll see us at Silverstone. Been following the touring cars. I mean, obviously, I'm enjoying the racing, but I'm trying to focus on motorsport media because that's the career goal that I want to try and pursue when I'm a little bit older.
Well, good luck with that, and if we can help at all with any of it, then let us know. My media's a bit old school, as you've probably heard from some of the commentary you're doing, but I'm going to say very well done. Any other thank yous or anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I just want to say a massive thank you to all of my fans that are watching, my family, my granddad, and my nan and granddad, and just all my sponsors, Law 22, GT Amiga, Amiga Asbestos, Hammer, and Kadan Computers, because they've been a massive help and I wouldn't be here if they didn't help me. So yeah, thank you to everyone else watching, especially Caden and Gemma and Ayla, who are also watching at home.
Nice one. Well done to all those. Great list of thank yous. Well done for getting those off Pat, and very well done, Kat, for taking our driver of the round. Some great driving this evening, and we wish you many more awards in the virtual world and the real world as well. Have a great week, and we'll see. I'll see you at the weekend, and we'll see you online again next week.
Yeah, see you soon.
Kat, of the round. What a round we've had. Championship, unofficially, of course, we have to stress, is, well, not unofficially led. I think we know Jack Smith leads it. 75 points. Thomas Potter, second, as things stand, 58. Third, Oliver Gibson. Fourth, Scott Buckler. Fifth, Jamie Page, who we didn't get a chance to talk to get that mic sorted out. And if someone can help Jamie with that, that would be good as well. Lewis Stannard in 6th. He's already practicing for next week. He'll be up there before too long too. Chris Blakey, 7th from Andy Carroll, Lee Piercy and Andy Dolman. Quick word with Jack. Jack, brilliant to work with you again. Absolutely loved it. Holiday, you're off to the States, so have a great time.
Thank you very much. It's been thoroughly enjoyable, as per usual. There's an old photo of me, isn't there? I really need to update Rich's photos of me. I think that's from 2019 Janetta Awards evening. But yeah, no, it was brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Well done to all the drivers. Thank you very much to Rich for having me on. Thank you, Richard, for guiding me through the process once again and getting the cobwebs dusted off. Hopefully everybody has a really good time over the next couple of rounds, and good luck to all the drivers.
Thanks, Jack. Have a great holiday. Thanks ever so much. And thank you to Steve Allen. Nice to have Steve back. We haven't seen Steve for a couple of weeks. So thank you for a great job. And everybody for watching. And have a great week. Wherever you're racing this weekend, stay safe, be nice to each other, and this time next week.
The inside of coats.
Marcus gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.